Would like to look at the Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home scoreboard and schedule for you this morning. And we begin that with a score from yesterday. There was a game played yesterday. It was, in fact, the PCA boys in the Division II Single A Final Four, and they were winners 54-40. So PCA advances to the state championship game today, a chance to win their first boys state championship. Girls winning it a few years ago, and should be a fun afternoon or evening out at Tennessee Tech for the PCA Lions. They will take on FACS in the Division II Single A Boys State Championship tonight. Let's see. That's about all of the scores that we have. Of course, Fridays are pretty quiet. After the region game, you've got Friday, and then girls play on Saturday in the sectional round. And we've got to look at our local teams. We've got 4 teams still alive, and Blackman, Oakland, and Eagleville girls are playing today. 2 of those on the road. Oakland will be at Bradley Central at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and Eagleville will be at Wayne County, 7 o'clock local time. And we will be broadcasting Blackman-Cleveland tonight at 6:50 airtime here on WGNS. So be sure to join us here on the radio for State Farm Prep Sports this evening. And then Monday we do that with boys. If you win tonight in girls, you're in the state tournament. If this is a win or go home type of game here as well in the Sweet 16. In the boys sectional on Monday, Laverne travels to Walker Valley, and Eagleville will host Frank Hughes. Those are the two teams that we have left playing, and we are going to go to Eagleville to broadcast the Eagleville-Frank Hughes game on Monday night. So we've made some plans. That's what yesterday was spent doing. Girls games that are going on around the state tonight in 4A. Sevier County will host Bearden. It's Dobbins-Bennett at Farragut. Oakland travels to Bradley Central. Cleveland is at Blackman. It's Hendersonville at Coffee County. And it's Beach hosting Lincoln County. And we also have Clarksville versus Collierville and Bartlett and Rossview. So that's a look at 4A around the state. In Single A, Cloudland and Sunbright, also Midway, North Green, Van Buren, Clay County, Pickett County, Copper Basin, Moore County, McEwen, Eagleville and Wayne County, and University High in Memphis at Fulton, South Fulton. And this type is really small, by the way. It's Greenfield traveling to Middle College. So that's a look at the teams around the state and girls. And got the brackets up on the website if you want to check them out there. But it's going to be a big show here today for you. Hope you'll stay tuned. We've got it's kind of a hodgepodge, and John has the first 3 interviews this morning: Riverdale baseball, Laverne baseball, and Blackman girls basketball. Then Danny and I are going to kind of do a little 2-step here. Danny will have Laverne boys basketball around 8:45. I'll be in for Oakland girls basketball at 9. Then Danny back in for Siegel baseball at 9:15, 9:30. I will have Rockvale baseball for you. And then it's Eagleville girls. I'll talk to Chris Lynch, and Danny will talk to Davey McLaren in back-to-back segments, and then I'll wrap up with MTCS Cougar Corner. So that is the schedule here this morning. Invite you to stay tuned here on News Radio WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna. The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro, gets underway in a moment.
Here's a question. What do you want from your electric co-op?
I want expert advice on going 100% solar.
I want to go green without breaking the bank.
I want to meet my sustainability goals.
I want solar to be simple.
Done, 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 done.
I want to save the planet.
Little hero, let's start with one of MTE's solar programs first. Energy Service Life. That's Middle Tennessee Electric. We're here to get done what matters most to you. Learn more at mte.com.
You've heard people say, you know your work by your name, but there's no better name for residential and business concrete work than Dan France Concrete. From basic slabs to decorative stamping, for your next concrete project, call Dan France Concrete, 615-642-5152.
This is Dan with Dan France Concrete, wishing all Rutherford County student athletes a great season. Study hard, play harder, and be safe.
Trust me, Dan is committed to the community and will offer you a great product. He'll stand behind his work and make sure you're satisfied with every aspect of the work. Dan France Concrete.
We're talking now with Heather here at Carpets by Osborne. What are some of the advantages that Carpets by Osborne has?
Being a family business and being locally owned and operated, we do free estimates. We have our own subcontractors that work for our business. We will come out, look at your floor covering. Throughout the whole process, you deal with an individual. You're not passed off to different contractors. We handle it from start to finish.
Carpets by Osborne on Northwest Broad, next to Tire World.
The Blue Raider fan source for officially licensed Middle Tennessee gear is Raider Tees. T-shirts, caps, sweats in all sizes, designs, colors, children's to plus sizes. Raider Tees has decals and license plates to show everyone your favorite team. Plus, check out their wide selection of Blue Raider art, jewelry, even golf tee markers. Show your Blue Raider pride with the largest selection of Blue Raider merchandise anywhere by shopping Raider Tees, 910 Ridgely Road, just before the bridge over Broad behind Chewy's.
Pizza. You in a hurry for dinner? Well, we've made it even easier to order online at sirpizzatn.com. Tap the location nearest you and begin your carryout or delivery order at sirpizzatn.com. You can choose from our full menu and we'll take care of the rest. A Queen's Feast is calling my name. Order Murfreesboro's favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com.
Pizza, you made me love pizza again.
It's a critical time in education, and we need experience on the Rutherford County School Board. That's why we need to elect Butch Vaughn to the school board in Zone 6. He brings experience as a public educator from his years in the classroom and as a coach to being principal at Central and Blackman Middle and Oakland High Schools. Butch Vaughn has also been in private education as the former headmaster at PCA. Experience counts, especially now. That's why we need Butch Vaughn on the Rutherford County School Board. Paid for by Butch Vaughn for School Board. Pryor Manning, Treasurer.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
Whether it's the blazing heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter, let the Rheem Pro professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Conditioning on West College Street keep your home or business comfortable year-round. We service all major brands and in most cases offer same-day service. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
And this portion of the Coaches Show is brought to you by Carpets by Osborne, who would love to help you complete any job, whether residential or commercial, carpet, tile, hardwood, vinyl, rugs, and more. Locally owned out online at carpetsbyosborne.com. And joining me here on the show, John Dingens, along with Barry Messer, the head coach of the Riverdale Warriors. And, Coach, appreciate the lunch the other day, and first of all, but also I just want to tell you, I know there's a lot of things going on out there on Warrior Drive in terms of baseball and remodeling, and there's always something new going on.
Sure, yeah. There's, we're doing the county's adding an addition at Riverdale, so it's kind of got our campus a little out of whack here, but we're just continuing on back here, back on the reservation at our place. So
I heard too that the press box is looking really nice. That's what I'm hearing. I've got rumor. I'm looking forward to it. I heard there's some remodeling going on down there.
Well, David, that's kind of his life. So, we try to make it a home for him. So, yeah, he's got some luxury items that he requests. So we try to fulfill his needs the best we can.
Yeah, he hasn't put a bed in there yet, though, has he?
Well, he's getting to the point where he's getting pretty needy. I got to cut him off.
Yeah.
Well, I got to cut him off. So.
I got it. I got what you say. Coach, always Riverdale, always in the hunt, always you put out a really good product out there, and with different cast, a different crew each and every year. And I think you're looking forward to this year. I know you've got some people returning, and I want to talk a little bit about some of those guys this morning, and as we get ready to, because district play starts pretty quickly these nowadays. In the last couple of years, it has, and I guess we start with pitching because I know that's really the key, isn't it? I mean, pitching, always pitching.
Well, I think anybody that's going to talk about, baseball is going to stay pitching is like I guess different opinions, but I think everything starts on the mound. Baseball is just a different sport. I mean, it's if one guy on the mound can beat a really, really good team. And I think pitching is very important. And we do have a lot of guys returning. We have quite a few players this year. Probably our largest number-wise team that I've probably ever had since I've been at Riverdale. We do have quite a few pitchers. I'll just start with I'll try to go down the line with just the seniors, then we'll go from there. I got Jackson Pridgeon, who is he's kind of one of our main guys on the mound. He's 6'2", 200-pound guy, committed to Tennessee Tech. Been really good. He's up to 90, 91 on certain days, and he's been really good for us. Then Cam Scholler, who's been a guy who's pitched a lot of innings for us over the last 2 or 3 years. He's committed and going to go to Motlow State next year. So, and then we got a left-hander, Hayden Dowdle, who's come a long way over the last couple of years, who's pumping a lot of strikes in there and being very effective. Another senior, Hayden Morton, who's been, he's thrown some innings since he was a sophomore, who pitched last night in a scrimmage against Columbia. It was really clean. A junior, Nick Curry, who's kind of come on the scene a little bit, really pumps the strike zone full. Bradley Pippin, a guy who's committed to, MTSU as a two-way guy, hitter and pitcher. He's through last night, was again, was very, very clean, 88 to 91. So, we need him to do that, obviously, consistently. Bryson Green, who is our shortstop and slash pitcher, kind of being a closing role. He threw last night, threw very well, who's thrown, been very efficient in the preseason. Trying to just go down the line here. Will Rankin's another senior who will see a lot of innings for us, throughout the week, who's worked very hard. Logan Strader, big guy, 6'4", 6'5", big, huge guy. Kind of just a guy that just kind of puts his nose down and works and works and works. And he's had a really good preseason, really good clean innings. He's going to start today in our scrimmage against Brentwood this afternoon. So kind of wrap up the preseason. Jacob Pugh, another guy who's a 2025, guy's going to throw a lot of innings for us. And then Brendan Matthews, another junior, kind of a 6'1", 6'2" guy who, we'll lean on and throw some innings there. And then we have another, kind of 2025 in Paul Pittman, who fills some innings on that in his role there too as well. So, that kind of goes down the pitching staff. I said a lot of names, but we have a lot of guys.
Yeah, and that's a good luxury to have because you never know when injuries are going to happen or maybe they have to miss a start due to an injury. I mean, you can never – it's really true. You can never have enough.
No, you can never have enough because they kind of – just, everybody goes in, well, I don't know if I'll ever throw this many guys. Well, then you get, into 4, 5, 6, 7 games a week, and you're like, yeah, you're going to get an opportunity. So, then we have another pitcher who's a 24, who's a senior. He's kind of like been on a rehab throwing program in Austin Booth. I mean, he's a guy that can add some value on the mound for us. So he's kind of wrapping up his rehab here. So we're hoping to get him back in the next week or two.
I know you've got some people returning too in the infield and the outfield, but tell us a little bit about the guy that's going to catch all these pitchers. First of all.
Well, we kind of, right now we are blessed behind the plate with catchers. We have, I've got Gunnar Waldrop, who was my catcher last year. He's a 2025. Was, slotted to he hit in the anywhere from the leadoff to the 4-hole. A really good offensive player, a good catcher. He'll share time back there. We've got a senior in Jax Nichols, who caught some for us last year too. He's really had a really good preseason, behind the plate and offensively. And then I've got a third catcher in Liam Goodhart, who's a 2026. He can play, he catches, plays first. So I've got some guys that I can interchange back there. So it's really been a challenge to try to get 3 catchers in scrimmages, but we've somehow managed to do it. So, again, behind the plate, we're in pretty good shape.
That's a good problem to have. And I know you have Green out there in the infield too, and I know a lot of you they pitch some games and that kind of thing. So talk a little bit about your infield.
Yeah, Bryson Green is at shortstop, right now, and he was he started last year for us, played, majority of the season at short. Bounced over to third. That's a position that was vacant to start the year. Right now we've got it. We've got a sophomore in Davis Wilson. Been playing over there in the preseason for us, and it's the infield's kind of interchangeable some. So we're still plugging and playing with the combinations and what works and what doesn't work. And Davis does throw a little bit too. So if he pitches, there's going to have to be some things that interchange. And then over at second, you got Bryce Messer, who played last year, started for us. Was an all-district player for us as a sophomore, and then we have another 25 in Jesus Gonzalez, who's a really, really good defender. I could put him out there and know that he's going to be a vacuum and suck everything up. So, as many as I've got deep at catching, I've only got four. I've really only got four infielders that I can interchange. So, possibly a fifth, but so they could potentially play. Two of those three or two of those four could potentially play a couple different positions.
Round out the outfield for you too. And also, I know some of those guys will be pitching too if they're not playing the outfield.
Yeah, let me bounce over to first so I don't forget that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Jackson Pridgeon will play first for us some too with Liam Goodhart. Already mentioned him. We have a 25 in Jackson Ridgeway who'll compete for some time over there as well. So. I got three really big targets. All those guys are over 6'2", for the most part. So really big targets at first. Bounce to the outfield. In center, we have 2024 Caleb Jordan, who's an LMU signee, who's kind of moved from the infield to the outfield this year. Really athletic dude, can go get it. In the left, we have Bradley Pippin. Obviously we've already spoken about him. In right field, we kind of got it's a kind of a horse race right now with Sam Gibson, who's a 24, who's a really speedy guy, adds a lot of value with some things he does, and then Braden Leverett, who played the majority of the season last year, left-hand hitter with some pop in his bat. They're kind of going at it out there. In left field, we also have another 24 in Adam Merwin, who is another left-handed hitter who brings a lot of value to what he does. Is a really good guy to have around. Junior A.J. Ganser can play multiple positions in the outfield. Junior Carter Terrio can play left field for us too. We'll plug in some out there. Also is a really, really speedy guy, so he'll get a lot of valuable time with courtesy running. Just trying to see if there's make sure I haven't left anybody out of the mix here.
And they'll be able to. Some of them will DH, I guess, too. You can use that position.
We've obviously got the flexibility of DHing somebody. So it does add a flex position in there. So we've got a lot of versatility with guys that can do multiple things. So feel pretty comfortable with what's going on athletically right now with our team.
And district, it seems like from what I'm hearing that everybody's improved this year. So it's going to be no easy task.
Oh, I think obviously when you're into what you do and I'm into what I do, I mean when you see people that the immediate question is, well, how are you going to be? Well, it's I think I think we're going to be okay, but I think everybody that is asked that question this year in our district is going to say the same thing. I think there is a lot of quality teams, and I feel like our district usually always comes down to one or two games, but I think it could come down to one or two games with all five teams instead.
Wow. Yeah,
of
it sounds pretty exciting, and you've got the benefit of being talented, but you got some young folks in that lineup too.
Yeah, there's some young folks, and our freshman group is a good group, and we have some sophomores that I didn't list that are kind of sitting in the wings waiting. So, but it's all about the here and the now. An injury here, an injury there is going to elevate, make somebody elevate and have to step up and do some stuff. So, you're always one play away from being the guy. That's what we tell our guys all the time. So I'm sure everybody says that too. But
I always say like it's a really like a 2-month season, but in a way, it feels like 3 because you play every day. You play every day.
No doubt, and it's we're with the season bumping up a week. We open up on Monday or Tuesday this week, depending on weather. So we have a very challenging schedule once again, like always. Our tournament. Our tournament has kind of blown up. Our Warrior Spring Classic. There's a lot of good things on the horizon. I got 94 teams coming to that tournament this year from 7 different states. So we're really excited about that opportunity.
Oh, 94. Unbelievable. Well,
yep.
You're going to be a busy little guy.
Well, yeah, I'm a busy guy for sure.
Barry, good luck this year, and we're going to be seeing you soon in a game here before long. We get basketball gone, and we'll head that way.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me on.
All right, that's Barry Messer, the head coach of the Riverdale Warriors, sounding like he's going to have a pretty good team this year. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Rick's Barbecue, serving up the best smoked barbecue ribs and many local favorites on Warrior Drive, locally operated by Ann Marie Brents and the Lanning family. Coming up next, Laverne Baseball.
Craig's Tax Service at 142 Heritage Park Drive offers complete tax preparation, financial, and bookkeeping services.
This is Brandon Craig with Craig's Tax Service. We're proud to support all Rutherford County athletes.
Craig's Tax Service reminds you that it makes sense to get help with your taxes. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
We've been serving Rutherford County since 1988.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
We're just off Memorial Boulevard at 142 Heritage Park Drive.
Stickers, labels, we do a lot of direct mail, booklets, manuals, programs. My name is Jeff Carlton. I handle sales and marketing for Franklin's Print Works here at Murfreesboro. We are at 2227 South Park Drive. Franklin's Print Works has been in Murfreesboro for over 25 years. We are a full-service commercial printer. We offer everything from business cards to brochures, booklets to banners, everything in between. Our website is franklinsprinting.org.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
This portion of the show brought to you by First National Bank of Middle Tennessee. If you're looking for a hometown feel with your bank, turn to the First National Bank of Middle Tennessee, offering full-service banking and mortgage services. John Dinkins back with you here with the new head coach of the Laverne Wolverines. That's Joe Huddleston here joining us on the program this morning. And Coach, you're in coaching attire. I don't know whether you've got scrimmages or not, but most everybody does this time of year. But maybe you've got a day off today.
We do not. We are going to Brentwood Academy today. So
okay.
Pretty excited.
Yeah. Now, over the last few years, I think the biggest problem that Laverne has faced is depth, because a lot of kids, whatever reason, they're football, soccer, that kind of thing. You've had to kind of build your team from within a little bit, and tell us a little bit about how you feel about that being accomplished this year in terms of numbers.
The excitement level for baseball at Laverne has dramatically increased.
Great.
And that's got little to do with me and a lot to do with the players I have. The returning players I have are the epitome of good guys in the hallway, in the classroom, and I think that drums up enthusiasm. And since we've had off-season conditioning, we've had a ton of participants out there, and you can feel the program growing.
At times, I can remember back when I was actually a principal in Laverne, in the Laverne area, they had one of the best programs ever. And then I guess over time, and people have moved out and moved to different schools, and the middle schools are all changed. It just became a kind of an issue of having enough people. Tell us a little bit about these guys that you're talking about, because I know you're, I know you're looking forward to your year here with them.
Well, there's never been a baseball season I've been more excited for. This is my second year at Laverne, and getting to work with the guys through a whole off-season conditioning program and watching them develop physically, but also watching the culture change has been really exciting.
Did you like? I know you had a little bit to do with this about the off-season work is really important, and I don't know that every kid really understands that. But did you make a special effort to kind of go, hey, this is what we need to do to get better?
Definitely. And the kids understand this is a long-term development game. So without that consistency, it's hard to be dependable when the lights are on. And the attendance at off-season conditioning has been impeccable.
Great.
I always have a full crew there, and that's a big change from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got to do with the guys in that locker room. So that's been really exciting.
Tell us a little bit, pitching's a big key. I mention this every time because it is. I mean, it's just a plain fact. You've got to have some pitching, and you can't have enough of it either.
That's the truth. And this year we're blessed to have some options on the bump for sure. Obviously, we've got a returning junior that's been all-district his freshman and sophomore year, Caleb Lund, who's just a really dependable pitcher with a good repertoire of pitches and a bulldog mentality on the mound. So
you got to have one of those like that. I mean, at least
guy.
one, right?
He is that guy for sure. And, I'm excited to see the colleges come to start looking at him. He's a early college enrollee, great student, great teammate, and a good baseball player as well. We also picked up a homeschool player, Cade Darbius, a 6'5", really tenacious competitor that has a plus stuff for our program. He's mid-80s right now with a couple of good off-speed pitches, and he is chomping at the bit to get on that bump. So we're excited about that.
In terms of intermingling players, like your shortstop comes and plays, will they be multidimensional like that? Is that going to be part of the? I mean, I guess in high school you just about have to.
Yeah, and it's a blessing that they get to learn multiple positions, but it's also a challenge because there's only so many throws in that body.
Mm-hmm.
My best pitcher is also my best shortstop. We have a center fielder who's a senior, Danny Lopez, plays a great center field for us, but we're going to need him on that bump as well. And our real spark plug is our catcher, Ashton Keck. He's a senior, high character dude. Can't get enough extra reps. He's that type of guy, and everybody kind of gravitates towards his mindset. So that's real.
Let's go. We'll head to the catching department, and you mentioned him. Now we go to infield, and it's really the defense is so important. I mean, it wins you games.
It is. Got a second baseman, Jeffrey Huddleston, who's also my son, and he transferred from Central Magnet, and had a good experience there. Coach Patterson does a great job. But he's came in here and he's been very consistent defensively. At third base, we're going to go with a freshman, and this kid is Dominic Townsend, and he's a really good offensive player, but he is buying into being consistent on defense, and he's going to be somebody we can rely upon.
And that's difficult sometimes to convince them, the defense is as important as the hitting, and most of them worry about their hitting anyway, but, you got to worry about that defense too.
You do. They say the hitting can come and go, but that defense must be a constant.
Well, we're a word full of cliches today, aren't we? But they're all true. I mean, that's just the art of baseball. Did you mention the first baseman? Your first baseman?
Our first baseman is new to Laverne High School. His name's Jaden Jones, and this is a big, strong, and emotional leader of the team. His baseball IQ is off the charts. He can help us catching. He can help us in the outfield. He can help us at third base as well. So he's a multi-tool guy, but he's really going to help us at first base.
And let's head to the outfield.
Outfield is locked down by Danny Lopez, who's our senior out there in center, who kind of leads the charge. But we've got a kid out there, Jay Jerome, who is a sophomore that's really going to help us on the bump, but I think he's going to bat leadoff for us too. He can really handle the bat, really confident, and he's got that IQ on the base pass that you really can't teach. Very instinctive, and he's quick as well. So big helper for us. We've got a freshman, Muhammad Azar, who's going to help us out in right field. And I tell you what, he is the type of kid, if you give him a fundamental to lock in on, you could give it to him one time, and he is going to master that fundamental.
And he's got a great baseball name. I mean, that's a great baseball name. And it's important. You've got Lopez out in center field, the senior, not only for leadership, but to captain that outfield and for him to be able to play center field, that's such I think, a bonus to have in your outfield.
It really is. He's the type of guy that you could really count on in a tough situation. When things get tough, you know that Danny Lopez is going to stand strong right there. And, obviously there are a ton of talented teams in Rutherford County, and we know that we're going to have our challenges. So I need high character guys that no matter what the situation, they're going to be able to maintain their enthusiasm. And he's definitely the example of that.
Joe Huddleston's our guest here on the Prentice Allsup Heating Air Coach's Corner. A couple more questions for you, Coach. I want to talk about the field itself. It's a hidden little gem out there. I mean, you don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but if you go there, it's in a great spot. There's plenty of parking. It's kind of in between the big mountain up on the right. I mean, it's really a beautiful, beautiful ball field. And I don't think it gets enough credit a lot of times.
And there's a lot of history with that field as
yes.
well. And a lot of people told me when I came to Laverne, fundraising is going to be your biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But the parents, the administration, everybody has wanted to help the baseball program succeed. Like this year, we'll have a new home plate, we'll have new bases, we'll have new home and away jerseys. Everything's been repainted, and I've learned more about perennial rye this year than I ever thought I would know, and it's definitely improving. So.
Yeah, it really is. We've been out there. We were out there 2 or 3 years ago because we caught you in a game or two on the road, but just a really great place to stay. The stands and everything. It's just people wouldn't believe it if they go out there. I mean, they really wouldn't. It's really a nice place to watch a ball game. I know the district, it's going to be a challenge, and but it looks like you're ready for challenges, and so are your guys.
They are, and we may not be as deep as some other teams, but I would put our top 10, 11 guys against anybody in the county, and I mean that honestly. And these kids are excited to rebuild Laverne baseball, and you can feel the trajectory going up, the way they go about their business, the professionalism every day, and it's been fun just to be a part of and to be able to create an environment where they can develop and have a good baseball experience.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great year, and good luck with it. And it's I'm glad to see the enthusiasm in Laverne, and I think you're going to have a good year. I really do. All right, that's Joe Huddleston and head coach of the Laverne Wolverines. When we come back, we're going back to basketball. Now, did you play basketball, Coach? Did you?
I'm a little too short for basketball. Don't leave me open, though.
Okay, there you go. Still got the 3. Exactly. I got you. We're going to be talking to Blackman head coach Jennifer Grandstaff as the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coach's Corner continues. This portion of the show brought to you by Stan Vaught for Rutherford County School Board Zone 2. That's Stan Vaught for Rutherford County School Board Zone 2.
Winners Trophies can help you with customized awards for any occasion. Owner Kelly Hockenberry continues to provide awards for sports teams, churches, recognition awards, and more. Call Winners Trophies at 904-6002. That's 904-6002 for the best in quality, service, and pricing. You can also email Kelly, winnerstrophy@comcast.net. That's winnerstrophy@comcast.net. Any award for any occasion. Winners Trophies, 904-6002.
We're talking with Anne-Marie Brents at Rick's Barbecue on Warrior Drive.
Our sandwiches are very popular. Our pork and our chicken are probably most popular pulled meats. We have spare ribs. They're delicious. They fall off the bone good. We don't put sauce all over our meat.
And that's so you can choose mild or hot sauce or their signature white sauce.
White sauce is our special kind of secret sauce. It's delicious. It's kind of got a kick to it, but it's not too spicy.
Barbecue smoked chicken, ribs, loaded baked potatoes. Check out Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive.
With the service you get from State Farm, you might think our car insurance costs more. I'm State Farm agent Celeste Middleton. Give me a call at 615-895-2700 and let me show you with discounts up to 40%. You may find it even costs less.
Local business owners, you know how important it is to be here for your customers. I'm State Farm agent Dana Womack, and I run a small business in Rutherford County too. I'm here to help you protect your small business. Call me at 615-900-0877.
Hey, it's Brian sharing why First National Bank of Middle Tennessee has been my bank since opening here in 2014. I just really want to know my bank isn't some corporate outfit out of state, but I also want online banking and a great app. Well, I get that at First National Bank of Middle Tennessee and more. You won't find better customer service either. The people, that's what makes it the best place I've banked. You don't have to settle, you know. Come on over with me to First National Bank of Middle Tennessee on Gateway and Memorial Boulevards. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
Of the show brought to you by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA, the largest and most comprehensive orthopedic surgery group in Middle Tennessee. Find out more at TOA.com. I haven't gotten those ads right yet, Dalton. I'll get them. Oh, I'm almost done. And I'm finishing up with Coach Jennifer Grandstaff, the head coach of the Blackman Blaze. And, Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time out because you know what? You've got a game tonight. I don't know if you were aware of it, but it's a pretty big one.
Yep, got a great game tonight. Yeah, and it is. It's a really big game, but just thrilled that I have the opportunity to still get on the show and talk a little Blackman Lady Blaze basketball.
You know, when we think about it, and I guess, and on a personal note, you've been blessed. I mean, you have been in this situation, and we've talked to you in this situation so many times. I mean, going down the years, and I know a lot of it is you. And a lot of it's been the players you've had and the schools and the administrations, but it keeps the fires burning, doesn't it?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, when you have opportunities to play in big games and you're able to be successful in big games, it just it definitely just keeps the fire burning and the passion rolling. It just makes it so exciting, and it is. It's just a exhilarating experience for our coaches, our players. I think our school, they enjoy it. So it's definitely a lot better to be on that end of the stick, to win big ball games than on the other end. So it's been a very enjoyable ride that we've had the last 3 or 4 weeks at Blackman.
And it was not an easy road to get there. I mean, it hasn't been an easy road, and I mean. Luckily, you don't have any gray hairs as a result of it, but I'm telling you, you've been in some barn burners in the district championship. It was a real close one with Oakland, very close, and then in the region championship with Oakland, another very close game. Which a shot or two, it could go either way. But your girls have somehow managed to come back, and I know you would like to not have maybe the slow starts, but you do have strong finishes.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Really, our last 4 games have really been barn burners. Obviously, the district championship, it was back and forth, and we had to play really well late in the game in order to pull that game out, and we did. And then our Stewart's Creek game, again, kind of a slow start, didn't make shots early, and we just hung in there, and had a pretty good run in the third quarter, and were able to finish it out in the fourth. And then, gosh, our semifinals with Lebanon was a barn burner as well. It was back and forth. I think they got some momentum in the fourth. They got up 5 or 6, and then we got a couple great defensive stops and made some shots in the fourth as well. And then to finish up in the region finals, we were down 10, and we had to battle back and made some big plays late and made some big buckets, and we just got some great defensive stops. So our last 4 games have been very similar games, and it's credit to our kids. I mean, they never just put their head down and quit or feel sorry for themselves. They just keep plugging away. We find a way to win. I think our defense has really answered the call here in the last 3 weeks. I think it's gotten better. I think they're very much attentive and locked into our opponent and our scout. They understand what the opponent's going to do, what their strength, what their weakness is, and they've been a good job. They've done a great job of just executing that for us. Our players have, and
your defense never slumps. I mean, it seems like when things are not, you're not shooting the ball well, or things are not going well, maybe you've turned the ball over a few times, your defense always steps up, it seems like, and I think that's been a big key to a lot of your games.
Oh, most definitely. We talk to our kids a lot. You know, what's going to win big games is going to be rebounds and defense. You know, offense is going to come and go, but the one thing we feel like we can control is definitely, you know, the effort to rebound the basketball and just the effort on the defensive end. You know, knowing who you're guarding and being aware of what they're really good at and trying to take away their strengths. And our kids have locked in on that. So, you know, we've been really pleased with their defensive effort.
You referred to the Lebanon game, and I have to go back, Jennifer. I was listening to it reminds me of those games between Oakland and Lebanon that we had back in the day, and that the excitement in there and just people going crazy, and it's a close game. It really did remind me of yesteryear, I guess you might say.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, anytime you're playing Lebanon and you've got a competitive team, it's going to be a barn burner. I mean, they're just great basketball tradition, their program. You know, it is. It's just a lot of passion in both programs. So it is going to be a hard-fought battle, and it's going to come down to the end if both teams are fairly even matched. And I felt like that's what happened. Gosh, what was that, Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
You know, Amanda Herring, I'm going to mention a few names that I don't usually mention, but Amanda Herring scored 2 points the other night, but it was probably the biggest 2 points of the game. I mean, it really was. Another one, Moore, played really well down the stretch, and she got you about 4 points that you really, really needed. And I guess they go unnoticed a little bit, but, gosh, they played a lot of minutes, and that's another two that their defense is tremendous.
I agree with you. You know, Amira battled back from that ACL surgery last year, and she's, you know, we look at her still pretty much a freshman because she got zero experience last year, and she stepped up big for us, definitely on the defensive end, and we feel like she's got the ability to really shoot the ball well. We're just waiting for her to get hot. Hopefully it'll happen tonight, but she's got a nice stroke, and she stepped up to that free throw line with a lot of confidence, and that put us up kind of
so huge.
Put us up 5. And Deshaun has been just big, just been a solid basketball player for us all year long. Just plays a role really well. Rebounds. She always gets the toughest matchup on the defensive end. And you know, we've talked a lot about other kids in our team's they're gonna have to step up and make some shots. And T did. She did that for us. I think that was Wednesday night. Yeah, she did that for us. Wednesday night, you know, had 4 points, and I think the biggest stat in her column was, you know, she pretty much, we felt like, contained Poole. I thought Poole really played well against Cookville. The game before, she had 29, and it was a big challenge for Tashana, and she stepped up and held her to 14 on that night. So that's a big stop for us to contain her, because that young lady's explosive and can do so many things. So we were really proud of Tashana for that effort as well.
I know I've noticed that most teams are really keying on Kaylin Flowers, who's probably one of the best, if not the best player in the district. And Lyric has stepped up for you in that respect in the last couple of games, because she said she struggled with her shot a little bit at times, but she seems to be has found it again, and that takes a little pressure off of Flowers, she's going to get her 8 to 10, 15, 20 points. It just depends on how the defense is.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Kaylin she gets everybody else's best matchup. You know, they're going to put their best defender on Kaylin because she is so talented, and she's such a great offensive scoring threat for us. And she's gotten everybody's best look the last 3 games, and she's handled it well. I mean, she's, you know, maybe not a scorer to her average, but she's played such good defense. She's been a great facilitator on offense. She just keeps battling and plugging away, and she's really rebounded the ball a lot better for us this year. So, you know, we're just thrilled with the way Kaylin's played late, knowing that she's getting everybody's best. She's handled it well, and it's been, you know, we wouldn't be in the position we're in if Lyric wasn't able to step up, and she's been able to step up for us.
She rebounds really well too. Lyric does. I think she doesn't get enough credit for that, but she is a tremendous rebounder.
Yeah, Lyric's just improved her game all around. You know, a lot. I thought we went through a little stretch if Lyric wasn't scoring that her game kind of suffered out of scoring. You know, she didn't really defend well, and she kind of lost her man on a block out. But I think she's really keyed into how valuable that aspect is of the game as well, and she's bought into that, and we feel like she's just a more complete overall player for us, and she's really stepped it up in the last 2-3 weeks as well. So yeah, we're just thrilled. We just hope that they're both on tonight. That'd be a great game for us if they could both be on and be rolling tonight. So we'll see.
Well, I want to mention one more player, if I may. Dunbar stepped up, hit a jumper at the foul line, and I don't know if you wanted her to take that shot or not, but it was a key part of that game when y'all were kind of you had 4 or 5 possessions and didn't score, and she hit one, trying to step and it's hard being a post player in this district. I mean, it's really tough, and I thought she stepped up the other night with 10 or 12 points there. Yeah,
Ayana's done a great job. The whole region tournament of, she made big shots in the Lebanon game, and then she came out in the Oakland game and scored 12 again. I think that shot at the elbow in the high post area is really probably one of her favorite shots versus around the bucket. So, if she pulls the trigger right there, we feel like that's a really high percentage shot for Ayana, and she's just she's done a great job for us. Well,
she can hit her free throws too.
Oh yes, she's a great free. Feel confident. So yeah, she's really played well.
Well, I'm going to have to let you go. I could talk to you for another hour, but I know you got things to do. But let's talk a little, just real quickly, Cleveland. Have you had a chance to look at them? Have you played them? Give us a little background.
Cleveland, they're going to play 5 out. Yeah, they're very talented. 5 guards. They all shoot the 3-point shot. They shoot it well. They average about 37% from threes. They're going to play a lot of different variations of zone defense, give us a little press. Very talented team, balanced scoring. Lauren Hurst is a junior. She's very talented, highly recruited. She's about a 6-foot guard. She can stroke it real well, and she'll go down and post us up. They do. They've got shooters all around Lauren, and it's a game that we got to be locked in. We got to be ready to play. We got to be there on the catch and contest shots, and our defense has got to be solid for us. We got to rebound the ball, and we got to be able to handle what they throw at us on the defensive end.
I also noticed she has a few former Oakland players there supporting you that you coached, and some of them wearing Blackman jerseys. I don't know how you pulled that off, but that's sweet. That's sweet that they came.
It was a lot of fun. It's good to see those girls come out. They're true blue fans. They're true blue Oakland fans, but we just developed a bond over the year, and I sure appreciate their support of just supporting their old coach as well.
Okay, well, you're not old, but that's okay. I'll let you get by with that one. Good luck tonight, Coach, and I don't know what sub-state number this is, but it's too many to count. So, but good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Jennifer Grandstaff, head coach of the Blackman Blaze. They're hosting. We'll have that on the radio tonight, and that'll begin about 6:50 airtime. This portion of the show brought to you by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin, who will work with you to develop a complete tailored strategy to help you achieve your financial goals. That's Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin. Coming up next is Laverne basketball here on the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coach's Corner.
Dr. Russell McKissick of Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance talks about the grassroots effort in our local schools to ensure proper care for players.
To make sure our teams are covered here locally, be there for our trainers. Yeah, it's a passion that we have to try to take care of our athletes here in town and be there just to keep everybody playing as healthy and as best they can.
From a community standpoint, one of the most important things you do at TOA, I'd guess.
I think it's definitely a way to pay back to our community, just to be there for them and watch some great sports too.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, TOA, live your best life.
How about a fix for your sweet tooth? Donut Country is open 24 hours a day to cure your cravings. They've been serving up the freshest donuts in Murfreesboro since 1978. There's just something different about donuts from Donut Country. Bo and Cindy Davis and their wonderful staff will greet you with a smile, and you'll see all donuts aren't created equal. Fresh donuts anytime you want them, 24/7 at Donut Country on Memorial down from Clark. And they're open each morning on Middle Tennessee Boulevard. Check out their Facebook page for specials and promotions. Nothing else compares to Donut Country. Open 24 hours.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by Las Casas Feed Supply, locally owned and operated by Coy and Jennifer Young, specializing in animal feeds, premium pet foods, farm supplies, and more. I'm Danny Brewer. You know, I'm like a kid in the candy store right now. I'm here with Tony Rutland, head basketball coach of Laverne High School. We got lots of great things to talk about with Laverne, Coach. Very pleased to have you this morning. How are you?
I'm good. You know, we're still here, so you know, I couldn't be more happier.
Yes, outstanding. So let's talk about the region tournament.
Yes.
Big win over Oakland. You spanked them at home. Had to be rewarding to get that one in front of the home crowd.
It was a little disappointed that we didn't have a bigger crowd, but again, I think we were able to host and started off a little slow. We gave them a lot of hope. I mean, they came out, and I told the guys they're either going to come out flat or they're going to come out blazing, and they came out blazing, but again, we withstood their run and was able to chip away from their lead, tied it at half, and then the third quarter, you know, we finally came out and played.
Yes, outstanding, because, I mean, the final score says that you turned it on, you figured it out, and you turned it on. Let's talk about the next round. You were the only lower seed in the region tournament to win. You beat Blackman. Outstanding basketball game. The score was like 34-26 or something like that, and people were like, well, 34-26, that was that was boring. No, it was one of the most exciting games ever, especially for a guy like me.
Yeah, both teams played great defense, and we were both able to get shots that we wanted. And coming in, you know, Coach Workman, he has a style that, you know, he's always had. And we was able to adjust and just be able to play our game as well. You know, they went to the two bigs. And to me, it really went to our advantage because, again, we already had Dante, but Cam Samuels is one of the keys where he's athletic, but he is a big, and he can play the guard, he can play the big. So he was able to play both guys. So we enjoyed it. We spread it out. We didn't shoot the ball as well, and, you know, Landon had about 4 or 5 shots that go in and out. He kept looking at me, and then, you know, me being a shooter, I said, just keep shooting. But it was there. It just didn't fall. But we was able to do other things, and, you know, we was able to execute a lot of stuff that we wanted to do.
Having the kids buy in, okay, for that game especially, extremely rewarding for you as a coach, I'm sure.
It is. You know, I look at my team, and it's any coach's dream. They buy in. We can go fat. We can play up tempo. We can play slow. But we're really an up-tempo team. So when we need to slow it down, we can. We did not turn the ball over like we did in the past. And, you know, like I told the guys, we actually played 4 quarters of basketball the way we wanted to play.
Lenore, senior point guard, you got to be proud of that kid and what he's done, because I think he's been a very big key, especially in that ball game.
He is. He's always been a key for us. He's been solid all season, and like I told him from the beginning, he's going to take us as far as we can go. When he goes, we go. And it has nothing to do with scoring. It has all to do with controlling the game, controlling the tempo, not turning the ball over, getting the guys who are hot at the right time. And, you know, people really sleep on the fact that he really can shoot and he really can score. But he puts that to a side, as a point guard should. And, you know, he distributes the ball like a point guard should be.
He's good at getting to the hoop. I mean, and I think that's something that people don't understand. He's really good at getting to the hoop.
He is. He's very quick. He's one of those gnats that I hated, but I love to have him as a coach. He's very quick. If he gets any little space, he's getting to the basket. He knows how to finish. He knows how to get contact and draw fouls, and he's a great free throw shooter.
The Cookeville game didn't turn out the way you wanted. I felt like you guys had a chance in the second half. Some things didn't fall, but Does that playing a team like Cookeville, because they are a very good basketball team, does playing a team like them as many times as you've played them, do you think that helps you going forward?
It really does, because it adds on to our schedule that we played all year. We play again in Arkansas. We played defending champions in Jonesboro, and then we played another team in Arkansas. They were 5A and 6A champs. So coming in, Cookeville is one of those unique teams where everybody on their team is a guard. We did what we executed offensively. I felt like we executed offensively. We got their main guys in foul trouble. But the things with good teams is the next man up. Well, their guy off the bench came in, had 20. Their point guard stepped in, did what he normally does, and had like 8-9 rebounds. Well, he took the rebound job from Hurd. So good teams step up, and they did. We just didn't execute. We had a couple of guys who didn't score in some quarters, but again, we got to that situation. It's always hard to get to that situation. I commend my guys. I think we concentrated a lot on the Blackman game, and I did too. So, I try to tell the guys, don't hold your head. We survived enough to get another game. We had a real good practice yesterday. We went to Reed to Cedar Grove, so it was different for them. They, got their mind off of basketball, and, practice was really good.
Very good, Coach. So you're a thoroughbred on the hardwoods. I'm going to talk about some thoroughbreds on the dirt. Fountain of Youth Stakes is today at Gulfstream Park. Big prep for the Kentucky Derby. I want to talk about a horse that relates to Laverne High School, Locked. He's a son of gun runner trained by Todd Pletcher, a morning line favorite at 5-2. Is it important for these guys to be locked on who they are and what they're supposed to do, because you've got pieces to the puzzle?
Yeah, and that's why I said yesterday's practice was really good. I think they were really locked in on the things that we do best. Sometimes we forget where we came from, and our practice yesterday was really good, and we were really locked in. The main guys were real good leaders yesterday. They pushed it, it didn't find no excuses. They really pushed themselves. We have to be locked in, because now at this point in time, it's just one and done. And it's a bigger picture for us. Like I said, it's hard to get to a regional championship back-to-back, let alone we did it. And so now we have a chance to move on further, and we take one game at a time.
When we talk about the pieces to the puzzle that I mentioned, guys understanding their roles, Cam Samuels, you mentioned him. Man, he reminds me of a kid that played at Oakland years ago, kind of in my era, Barry Roach. 5'10", but could take a quarter off top of the backboard. And that's how this kid is.
Yeah, I mean, he has his hair out, he's jumping, and it's just flying in the wind and stuff. But, the block he had on Flowers, when Flowers had a great defensive stop and he stole the ball, to me that sealed the game, because if they come down, they score that layup, I think they steal the momentum. We stalled a little bit, and that's when I went to the 4 quarters. But if he doesn't make that block, it's a tie game, and now I think the pressure becomes on us. But he was able to make the block. We came down and we stalled it for a good minute, and we was able to get a dunk, and then from there it was history. He was
almost stalking, and he did that a couple of other plays too. Yes. In the region tournament. Yeah. Because he can leap so much. So some guys, a guy that I was standing next to, he said, "Man, that was a goaltend." Of course, it was Cecil Joyce, yes. And he recorded it. And I said, "Man, I'm not so sure." He looked at it 2 or 3 times. It was not a goaltend.
No, he's been doing that for a while, and I think a lot of people don't realize how high he can jump. We do offensively. I try to tell him, like, look, man, if you just go above the rim and just lay it in, he'll be making a lot more points. But for him, he's a selfless player. He does anything that we need. He's a sleeper on the boards. He gets a lot of rebounds. He is our glue. He does a lot of things that we need defensively and offensively.
So we're gonna talk about one more thoroughbred. He's running the Canadian Turf. Giant Game, 20-1 on the morning line. Dale Romans, my buddy Dale Romans, trains him. When you head down to Southeast down there for the game Monday night, you need a Giant Game.
Yes, we do. For some reason, we love being the underdog. I think Walker Valley played an excellent game against Bradley Central. They were able to come out with the victory. They're playing well. They're shooting the ball well. So, again, it's not a team that we haven't seen before. I mean, anybody could shoot like Cookeville, then we've seen it. So we just got to capitalize and play our game. Any runs that they make, we just got to capitalize, go inside, and just score.
I know that being at home is an advantage, but could maybe being on the road here, because you like being an underdog, is that something, just another horse, Ice Chocolat, that I want to talk about that's running Canadian turf? Could it be a little bit icing on that chocolate whenever you go, because you are going on the road?
I do. I think when we went to Arkansas, we created a bond, and like in college, when you're always on the road, you're always together. And I think the guys are they formed a great brotherhood. They're one of the great friends. And when you be together, you stick together, and then you play well together.
Well, Coach, we know this is decided on the hardwoods. I think you'll have your team ready. I've got no doubt about that. Tony Rutland doing great things down there at Laverne High School. You know, it's back-to-back years in the sub-state. Hopefully it's going to be, of course I say sub-state, sectionals. Yeah. Hopefully we'll take the next step for Laverne High School basketball. Coach Tony Rutland, we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by J. Mullins Jewelry, a family-owned and operated business treating clients like family since 1938. Jewelry design, repair, and a wide selection of great jewelry pieces online at mullinsjewelry.com.
This is a paid legal ad.
When a family member is lost as a result of someone else's negligence, the grief can be unbearable. It also leaves you with a lot of questions like, how did this happen? Who's responsible? And is my family going to be okay? That's a lot to go through, but with the law offices of John Day on your side, you don't have to go through any of it alone. We understand what you're going through, and we have the experience to get the answers, justice, and compensation your family deserves. Call the law offices of John Day.
Hello, this is Coy Young at Las Casas Feed Supply. We'd like to welcome you to our door.
Whether you have a quarter acre or several, Las Casas Feed Supply has premium feeds and dog foods you can't find in box stores.
Nutrition is our specialty here at Las Casas Feed.
Plus, every Saturday morning they have a local producer-only farmers market with fresh vegetables, beef, pork, and more.
Customer service and expertise that exceeds your expectations.
Family owned and operated by Coy and Jennifer Young, Las Casas Feed Supply on Barlow Lane, just off Highway 96 East in Las Casas.
Hi, I'm Lee Colvin, your Edward Jones financial advisor. And while you've heard the saying, slow and steady wins the race, that same concept can be applied to long-term investing. Investing a little bit at a time on a regular basis can really add up. We call this systematic investing, and though it doesn't guarantee a profit or prevent a loss, it's a way to take advantage of market volatility instead of enduring it. Give me a call, Lee Colvin, at 615-907-7056. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is Stan Vaught. I'm a lot like you, a husband, father, farmer, auctioneer, and community supporter. I'm now a candidate for school board in the Las Casas, Walter Hill, Milton, Leanna, Oakland, and Siegel communities. I believe in community schools, vocational education, and getting education back to the basics. I'd appreciate your support for school board.
Please vote Stan Vaught for school board on Election Day, March 5th. Paid for by Stan Vaught for school board. Stan Vaught, Treasurer.
This is Primetime Sports, WGNS Murfreesboro, on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com. The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro, on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
We are back on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Ideas Tees. They'll be happy to help you fulfill all of your imprinted apparel, embroidery, and advertising specialty needs online at ideastees.com. Jessica Southern joins us this morning, the head coach of the Oakland Lady Patriots, as they get ready to embark on a little road trip today to hopefully punch a ticket to the state tournament next week. Coach, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to have you here, and it's always good to be talking basketball this time of the year. You've had a pretty good season if you are.
Yes, for sure. Excited to still be here talking to you.
Well, let's recap the region tournament here just a little bit and how things kind of shook out for you. Had a 59-38 win over Wilson Central, and then an exciting overtime win over Cookeville. and then another battle with Blackman, and the Lady Blaze come out on top in that one. The region tournament is very interesting to me. The region starts out like just any other game with the quarterfinals, and then all of a sudden, it's a tournament, and maybe the best night of basketball is region semis. I don't know.
I think so too. And the atmosphere is different, obviously, for that quarterfinal game because it is a single game. It is late. Everybody's split and spread as far as like crowd. So it's usually like it almost kind of reminds me of like a COVID game where like you don't have as many fans because some of your other fans are split, gone elsewhere. But then the semis, kind of goes back to like region championship kind of day as far as like everybody's there. Those that might have gotten put out, on Friday night, their crowd's there watching to see, who's there. And there were 2 really good games for us, for us and Cookville and Blackman playing Lebanon. So everyone had really good crowds. It was a fun atmosphere.
And I don't want to get into how that could be redone and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of in the postseason going to someone's home place. I don't like the sectionals. That makes it really tough to do. But it, kind of takes the tournament feel out of it. And maybe you had to overcome a little bit of that with. You come out of the district championship and a little lower energy, smaller crowd. How do you handle that in the quarterfinals?
Just with us this year, it was exciting to have another home game. So I think that is, a drive, I guess, for still having the single quarter at home with trying to make it to the district championship to fight to have another home game. So I think there's a little incentive there, and just in general, we don't necessarily for us, as far as pool, we don't have huge crowds, so I don't think that necessarily affects how we play because that's kind of typical of where we're at right now.
Well, you played Cookville in the semifinals, and all I heard was, Oakland's had a fine season, and maybe you're hearing some of that now, and it's like, you know what? You beat a state-ranked team on your floor in the region semifinals in probably one of the most exciting games in my recent memory, at least.
Yes.
It was fun.
Yes. Yeah, the atmosphere was fun. Kind of going back to just this season in general, we got down, early, but the fight in our kids, that's something that they've been resilient with throughout all season. That like there's been several games. I was talking to somebody else recently that where we've been down. Like it all goes back to the beach game at home, our first regular season home game, like the beach game, Friday night home game. Like we got down 8 or 10, and it was like, well, I guess we're gonna pack it up. And then it was like, no, we're gonna go play. And we squeaked out a win. Right at the end, almost went to overtime. They got some shots off, they just didn't fall to take it to overtime. And like kind of ever since then, we've been kind of meshing, and just like we've been saying all season, everybody's kind of figuring out their roles and what their expectations are and what they need to do for us to be successful. And it was really fun to coach and really fun to watch our kids go to work.
I'm not so sure that you were having a lot of fun in the first quarter, but, I could read a little body language. It was like kind of, rolling a ball uphill. But, things started to turn. Cookville, I thought, was kind of deflated after they lost, the coach's daughter, the point guard there. And, but you were able to take that and turn it into a positive for you, not the injury, but just the fact that they were playing down a little bit, and that's when the tide kind of started to turn.
Yes, I think energy definitely shifted, in which we've been there. That happened to us against them in the state tournament when Beth got her nose broke, like the very first possession. But it was the same, same thing with that scenario. That Beth went down the tunnel and didn't come back. And then it changed our matchups. And then it was like everybody was like looking and waiting. And like Beth's at the hospital, and like we didn't know that until halftime. But I feel like it was kind of that same scenario. And just in general, like it just having been in that position, like it changes. Even though you tell your kids like, hey, we're good, let's just go play. Like you're still thinking like, is she okay? Right. Is she coming back? Like those kind of things. So it definitely changes the dynamic of the game.
So with social media, coach, and everything out there, there's always chatter. And I've found that with AAU, it seems like everybody knows everybody, if you play. And so I'm sure your girls heard a lot of things about Cookeville. I'm sure they've heard a lot of things here about Bradley Central. How do you maintain focus with that and have them shut out all of that stuff?
I mean, there's always a lot of talk and chatter, and that's something that we've kind of talked about over the last couple of weeks. So, like, no one's really been talking about us. Like, in the eyes of many people, we're not supposed to still be here. Like, just with on paper, with what, how the season has gone in comparison to Cookeville, in comparison, to Lebanon, in comparison to, some other people that aren't still playing.
Mm-hmm.
Just, we live to fight another day. What are we going to do with it? We're going to go play, or are we going to talk about who's doing what, who's playing where, or like those kind of things. Like, they lace their shoes up just like we lace our shoes up. They put their shorts on just like we put our shorts on. So we've just got to go play like we fought to get here. Why not make the most of it?
Sure. Well, I mean, that's still hard for a teenager, though, isn't it?
For sure. It's easy for me to say it, for me to tell them and say all the words and all the things, but it's really more or less of if they really take it and their thoughts on it.
We've got Jessica Southern joining us this morning, talking Oakland girls basketball. Alana Poole had 30 points in that overtime win, and I don't want to gloss over that at all, but I don't think you win that game without Amaya Nash and what she contributed that night.
For sure. With Alana, with her coming back from her injury, it's kind of been like a slow process and really kind of getting used to that brace and not being able to move and do what she necessarily wants to do. And
she had to kind of retrain her whole body and basketball moves, didn't she?
Yes, and our teammates despise it because she runs into them all the time and she's like, "Oh, your brace!" Like literally every day, like somebody is ready to get her because she hits them with the brace. But we've been talking over the last week or two just about knowing to go, knowing when she feels like she has a mismatch. Reading that, like pushing it in transition. Like I've kind of had a conversation with her at the end of practice last week, just on making reads. I feel like sometimes she misreads. Like she's trying to take it and there's help, or she's trying to take it and it's not there. But then when she should take it, she's passing it, or not looking to get downhill, not looking to score. And so we kind of talked about that. Actually, I think it was Sunday after practice before Monday, and I feel like that might have kind of helped that switch there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Amaya shot the ball great for us, in the fourth quarter as we were fighting, back and forth in that Cookeville game, and made some big shots when we needed it.
Especially that one that tied the game, sent it into overtime.
Yes, for sure.
I really thought you all played that overtime about as perfectly as you could. I mean, what's your mentality? I kind of feel like it's important to get that first score because that really puts the pressure on the other team.
Yes, that's something that with overtime, for sure, because of the pressure. And I feel like sometimes the team that, like we was talking to another coach about this recently, is like, did you make it to overtime or did you take it to overtime? Like, were you the team that fought to take it to overtime, or did you end up having to go into overtime because you were leading, or what that looks like?
Yeah.
So a lot of times I feel like the team that took it to overtime is the one that has the momentum, but doesn't always work out that way. Prime example, us at Cookeville last year at the free throw line, got fouled with like 3 seconds left, we hit both, we win it. We went 1 for 2 to tie it. We got outscored 11-1 in overtime. But like we fought back after being down 7 or 9, took it to overtime, but that took all of our energy, like to get it there. And they just kind of dominated it. But like you said, we were able to get that first score, which put the pressure on them to try to score. And I feel like we just kind of had the momentum and kept it.
Well, talk to me about the plans for today. You're headed down to Bradley Central, and it seems like at least one of our teams has a sectional trip to Bradley Central always, and it is Oakland's been there before. I guess, what was it, 2 years ago?
Yes. Yes.
Went
3
down
years.
there 3 years.
2 and 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But we've been there.
Back to
I've
back.
been there twice already.
So you have that experience. What about the girls and all of that, and going down there, and how do you handle a trip and a big game day today?
That's something that we've been talking about too. Several of them have been there. We played them in regular season post-COVID year in 2021 season. on a pickup after we had a game cancellation. So like they were able to kind of experience that atmosphere. Played them close in 21 and they ended up pulling it out for us. And then we traveled there in 22. And so the big thing is, they're talking about the crowd or talking about, what's going on there. More or less, it's like my thought on it is you just kind of have to embrace the crowd and take them as they are. Like they have a tough student section that's going to be yelling at you and on your head, and you do anything wrong, they won't let you forget it. But like it's a fun atmosphere in that aspect, but not worrying about it in the sense of like, oh no, the crowd is just like, just take it. Like they're going to be talking, they're going to be doing whatever, might get some tough calls. If you haven't been there, the black court is intimidating to some people, but not a lot of our kids that are playing for us now have played on the floor, but they've been there to know the experience. Because even some of our juniors now that didn't play varsity in 22 came and watched the game.
Sure.
So like they've at least been in the gym, know the feel, know the atmosphere.
Well, it's always good to be playing this time of the year, Coach. We wish you all the success in the world going down there, and hopefully we'll be able to see you next week.
I hope so.
All right, sounds good. Jessica Southern joining us here on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Butch Vaughn for Rutherford County School Board Zone 6. Learn more at butchvaughnforschoolboard.com.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
If your old unit needs a tune-up, the professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air service all major brands and even offer same-day service in most cases. Keep your home or business comfortable year-round. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Ring Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass. Online at PrenticeAllsup.com.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Rayburn Insurance in Smyrna.
Come see me, Rick Hall, at Rayburn Insurance in downtown Smyrna today.
Online at rayburn.net.
Head over to J. Mullins Jewelry to check out their selection of rings, watches, custom designed jewelry, and much more. They're a local business located at 352 West Northville Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro. They have gifts for all occasions, weddings, graduations, anniversaries, whatever you need, you can find it at J. Mullins Jewelry. That's at 352 West Northville Boulevard or online at mullinsjewelry.com.
Craig's Tax Service.
We perform tax preparation, individual tax returns, corporations, partnerships, and all your payroll bookkeeping needs.
Brett Craig with Craig's Tax Service.
Craig's Tax Service is located just off Memorial on Heritage Park Drive. You can contact us at 890-2233.
It makes sense to get help with your taxes. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
We are proud to support all Rutherford County student athletes.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
Dr. Automotive is the cure for your car. Brothers Danny and Randy Brewer have been providing Rutherford County with ASE certified auto repair for nearly 20 years. You'll receive courteous and friendly customer service every time. Why? Because we grew up here, and you are our neighbors. Foreign and domestic auto repair and maintenance on Hazelwood Drive in Smyrna, just off I-24. SmyrnaAutorepair.com, 615-220-0971. Just ask for Danny.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by Sir Pizza, whose 3 Murfreesboro locations offer a huge selection of mouth-watering pizzas, sandwiches, pastas, and wings. Order your favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com. I'm Danny Brewer, and I'm feeling like a bird dog in the bushes. Man, I've spotted some quails, and I've got the prize here. Seagull head baseball coach Craig Revis. Coach, we're so pleased to have you join us this morning.
Yeah, glad to be here, and good to talk to you.
Yeah, man. So just a little background on Coach Revis. top 10 all-time in MTSU in hits. The guy is he's Middle Tennessee staple in baseball. State champions plural. He's coached state champions, 2 different schools. The guy can flat do it. Coach, let's talk a little bit about what you got going on this year with Siegel baseball. First, let's start with the pitching, because that's always usually a staple of your of the winning teams that you've had, and you've had a bunch of them pitching.
Yeah, we feel pretty good. We feel like we can, with district 3-game series, you got to have at least 6 guys that you feel like you can roll out there, and we feel pretty solid. We got 2 guys that started district games last year returning, and Jack Santee and Will Horn. Which both Santee had a really good solid season last year, and Horn is coming into form and has thrown real well this preseason. And then sort of the newbie is going to be a sophomore, Colton Barron, who threw some for us last year and had some growth plate issues, so only got to throw 2 or 3 games, but threw really well then, and he has come out strong this year, this spring, and he'll actually get the opening start on Monday against Stewart's Creek. Then out of the pen, we've got Dylan Rogers, who's sort of been a mainstay. He had 4 saves last year. He's been coming out of the pen for us now for 3 years. Another senior, Gabe Hamrick, will come in and do a good job. And then we got another sophomore we're expecting a lot from this year. Ryan Russell has looked good this fall. And then, if you're going to put up a good record through the year, you got to have guys that can go and pitch the non-district games too. And Cooper Underwood has sort of solidified like a number 4 or 5-ish spot that we feel like he's going to give us a chance to win midweek a lot. And those are our main 6-7 guys. We got a couple freshmen that's going to get. We got one freshman, Jackson Barrett, that we feel is going to give us some innings this year and some depth. And then another freshman, Josh Duggan, we think might give us some time on the mound, and another sophomore named Remkus we think is going to help us out. But, we feel pretty solid, and we'll see. I mean, we're going to be competitive, and they're going to keep us in the games.
Coach, I want to talk a little bit about pitching philosophy of sorts. I don't want you to throw all your eggs out of the basket here, but we're going to relate it to a thoroughbred horse that was running today in the Gotham Stakes. The Gotham Stakes prep for the Kentucky Derby. It's a horse called Slider out of the John Sadler barn. He's shipping from the West Coast. He's been in the money 4 out of 5 times. But Slider, when we talk about Slider, is it important to have off-speed stuff? Because obviously bringing the gas is good, but changing speeds is one of the keys, you think, to being a good pitcher?
Oh, it is, absolutely. And, velocity is good, but there's more and more guys throwing with more velocity. Nowadays 84, 85, 86 is really nothing that they don't see on a normal basis. You got to get up. In high school, you got to get up, 90, 91 for it to really make a big difference. In college now, they got guys throwing 95, dime a dozen. But to me, the best pitch in high school is probably a good changeup. I've never had a guy that threw a good solid changeup that didn't get people out consistently. And that's probably the best pitch all the way through. But if you can command the changeup, you're going to get people out all the time. You can throw it in, guys that can throw that at any count. And obviously in high school, the curveball is probably a better pitch than a slider. Once you get to college and higher up, the slider, I think, becomes a better pitch. Just in high school, the hitters probably aren't good enough to know the difference between a slider and a fastball a lot of times because the speed's close, so it doesn't fool them as much. But, yeah, you got to bet all the guys that I've had. Of course, you go back to Matt Scott way back in at Laverne. He was a 90% fastball guy that if you can locate it and have movement the way he did, then you can live off that too. He was an upper 80s guy that walked 4 guys the whole season. So you got a guy that can locate like that. You can still get plenty of outs with the fastballs, and that's still the pitch you go to. But if you've got a good off-speed, good changeup, you're going to get people out consistently.
The 3 most important things about pitching: location, and location.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Coach, let's talk a little bit about defense, because that goes hand in hand with pitching. And I think in baseball, pitching and defense is what wins.
Right, and that's sort of our philosophy always. We start there. I mean, the majority of our practice every day is spent on defense. So, which we feel like we're going to be solid. Our infield is pretty much intact, returning from last year. We got Dylan Rogers at third, Gabe Hamrick at short, Trey Baker coming back as a sophomore at second, and Jack Santee over at first. Rogers, Hamrick, and Santee. And we got Lane Akers behind the plate, which you got to have a good catcher, and he fits that bill. But those three guys have been starting for 3 years now. So they've been through it. Our outfield is sort of new. We thought we were going to have a guy that had been there 2 or 3 years, and Nick Romagno, but got bad news this week that he's got to have Tommy John surgery, and he's going under the knife Friday. So prayers with him and his recovery, and of course he done for us this year, but. So we're sort of going to have a couple guys that played some last year. Drew Hostetler, who came on and was starting at the very end of the year, will probably be in center field, could slide over to right some, and then we got in a scrimmage today. We're still filtering through, trying to find our other guys. We got a sophomore, Tristan Thornton, that's sort of a backup catcher that played a lot last year that we're going to throw in the outfield some. Kevin Inslee played some last year, a junior. We have a Jaden Willis that's shown us some good defensive skills that's going to get some time out there. And, Barron, our sophomore pitcher, may play some out there. The outfield's going to be a little bit of work in progress, and it may come down to who swings the bat the best, who ends up manning those spots out there. But we feel good. We're going to ground balls, we're going to get outs on, and our pitchers, we're going to throw strikes, and, we're going to be in the game most nights.
Sounds like your up-the-middle defense is pretty strong. Lots of experience.
Right, it is. Starting with Akers, who's rounding out to be a great leader, and, he signed with MTSU, so he's going to be around for a while, but he has looked really good swinging the bat this spring. He's got great leadership skills, and the infield's sort of going to be his, is what you want out of your catcher.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about offense. You mentioned that a little bit. You got to be able to scratch. Pitching and defense wins, but you got to be able to scratch. Talk a little bit about who you got coming to the plate.
Right. Which that was last year. That was our biggest problem, is we just did not score runs, and we're still going to have to figure out how to score some runs this year. Losing Romagno, who is our 4-hole hitter, is going to hurt. But that opens the doors to some younger guys that, may not have gotten as many at-bats this year. Akers, thus far, has looked far and away like our best hitter. And, he's going to be in the 3-hole. And we're going to expect a lot out of him, and moving runners around and scoring runs. Rogers, Hamrick, and Santee have both had a lot of at-bats at the high school level, and, we're going to expect them to be able to get on base and move people around. And then we feel like some of these younger guys we've got some more pop with them. Barron has shown some pop in his bat. Thornton came up and had some big hits last year. We're expecting more out of Inslee, and then we've got Duggan, a freshman, who has swung the bat as well as anybody. A kid named Braxton McDonald, another sophomore that has swung the bat early this spring well, that's going to get at bats. But still, with this team, I think our key to how good we can be is going to come down to how many runs we can score, and are we going to have to manufacture? We're going to be able to sit back a little bit and knock guys around. And we've got some speed that I feel like we can steal some bases. But, how good we are is going to come down to how well some of these guys swing the bat.
Small ball, upper levels, I talked about this last week with a coach. Upper levels, major league, and mostly in college, they don't do it. They don't steal bases. They don't bunt. How much will small ball be incorporated into your?
Well, it's all in high school. You've got to do it, because there's nights you're going to see pitchers that your guys just can't. I mean, when you run into the best pitchers, the high school hitters, very few of them are going to be able to, have success. So you got to bunt. You got to steal. You look back to the year we won the state championship. We had faced McIlvain in the game to get to the state championship, and we're throwing a guy that had thrown maybe 2 games, 3 games all year, and McIlvain's 11-0, and we come in and get 2 bunts down, and he throws, I think he made 2 errors on bunts, and we end up scoring 2 or 3 runs and win that game. You go back to the last time we were in a state tournament, you had Chase Burns pitching against us, and we were able to steal a couple bases and get in the scoring position. I think we had 2 hits and 2 or 3 hits in that game, and 2 of them came after we'd stole bases and got 2 runs to win. So, and it's part of high school baseball. If you think, or if you've got a good enough team that doesn't have to bunt, then that's great, but that's few and far between. And it's very rare in high school that you put 8 or 9 college type hitters up there that you're going to just be able to let them swing. So you do have to bunt, and of course, the more bases you can steal, the less you have to bunt and things like that.
I think that's the beauty of the game for a guy like me, old school guy. Look, we're going to close this out, Coach, with we're going to talk about one more thoroughbred. You've been around this game a year or two. It's a marathon. I mean, because you're playing so many games in such a short period of time. A horse called Super Chow. He runs in the Tom Fool. That's my pick of the day as far as you're going to bet. Bet him across the board. He's 7-2 on the morning line. Super Chow has been in the money 15 of 16 times. Now, when we talk about Super Chow, that means he runs hungry. How important is it to keep your team hungry throughout all this when you're playing 4 games in 6 days and that kind of stuff? Is it hard to keep these kids hungry?
It is. I mean, at times. I mean, the first week is usually not that hard because they're tired of practice and they're ready to get going. But once you get into the grind, we'll play 20 some odd games in the first three weeks. It does wear on them a little bit because, they're just, it's hard showing up every day. But I think we've got enough depth that we can rotate some guys in. And, the other thing is they just got to be having fun. If they're out there not having fun playing baseball, then it's going to wear on them. The guys that enjoy the game, and our job as coaches to try to do some things to make it fun and not, not like it's work that they don't like. Show up and have a good time, then they're going to be fine. I mean, they're young. I mean, they're 16 to 18-year-old kids. They bounce back quick.
Yeah, right on. And he's keeping it fun over there at Siegel. If you want to see good baseball, you go over and see Craig Revis coaching over there at Siegel because they do really good things over there, and that's obvious from looking at his record. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Bowen's Body Shop. From dings and dents to full body work, trust Jeff and Kyle Bowen to do the job right. They're located on Middle Tennessee Boulevard. Coach Revis, we appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck.
Yep, thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
This Fanceroni pepperoni is fancy.
Am I fancy enough for the Fanceroni? I'm wearing cargo shorts.
But Tim, so am I.
Try the Fanceroni pepperoni with over 100 old world pepperoni. Little Caesars changed the Hot and Ready Classic and added 33% more pepperoni, which makes it 133% better pizza than before. It's really good. Order a new classic online and use our convenient Pizza Portal pickup.
In Murfreesboro on Memorial, Warrior Drive, South Church, and Old Fort.
Pizza.
Parks Auction. We handle everything.
Whether you're buying or selling a home or whether you're buying or selling commercial property, the auction is just so much easier, quicker, smoother.
My wife and I sold our personal home. Parks Auctions helped us with that. The house brought about 20% more than we were going to ask for.
Visit our website at parksauction.com to learn more.
Hey, if they're into having a home now, $15.
Stan Vaught and the Parks Auction team are proud supporters of local high school and MTSU sports.
If you need concrete work done, who would I call? Dan Franz Concrete. Here's why. He's local. He attended Walter Hill Elementary, Oakland, and MTSU. He served our community as a school resource officer for 9 years, and he's involved in the community.
This is Dan with Dan Franz Concrete, wishing all Rutherford County student athletes a great season. Study hard, play harder, and be safe.
Dan Franz Concrete is a licensed and insured residential and commercial concrete construction contractor serving Middle Tennessee. Check out danfranzconcrete.com online to see some of their work.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
We're back here on the Coach's Show, brought to you by Craig's Tax Service. They specialize in personal and business tax preparation, financials, and bookkeeping services. Find out more at craigstaxservice.com. Well, our show has been kind of baseball here for the last couple of segments. Counting this one, we're going to talk some Rockville baseball this morning. Shay Deal joins us, and Coach, it's that time of the year, fun time, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. And spring, you know, when you get to this time of the year, and hopefully some nice warm days and dry weather and no rescheduling. You'd take that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. That's something that people don't think about. That goes into it a lot. It's just the logistics of it all. You know, pulling tarps and getting it ready and make sure it's painted and make sure that you're dry enough to get it in. You wake up early in the morning thinking, are we going to be able to get it in tonight? So it's...
How many weather apps do you have on?
My wife makes fun of me because I have 3. I mean, I have a radar, I have the Weather Channel, and then I have another one that I scan. If I don't like what the other 2 say, I go back to the third one.
Find the one that gives you the most hope in getting the game in.
Absolutely.
Baseball season just it happens so quick. I mean, you know, the regular season is a month and a half.
Yes, it's about 7 weeks. So, and they've given us an extra week this week, but you know, once it gets here, it's full on. It's kind of I kind of say it's Groundhog's Day because every day it's just it just rolls into the next. But it's fun. It's a grind. That's what we do, and I enjoy it. So
talk to me about the extra week. So they added another week to the regular season?
They gave us an extra week. So they cut a week of practice out, and they allowed us to add extra games if you had them available in our schedule. And, of course, we play in the Grand Slam, so we added a game there to the front end of that tournament. And then we're actually opening up with Nolensville on Monday. That game was scheduled later in the year, and we've had it scheduled every year that we've been there, and we've only got it in once or twice.
Wow.
So we just went ahead and brought that up to the first day and then left the day on the back end in case of rain or something of that nature. But it looks like we're going to be able to get it in. So we're going to get 2 extra games in that weren't on the schedule when it started. So.
And I guess there's, you know, look at it both ways. You lose an extra week of practice and preparation, but, you know, this is one of those sports where when do you practice? It's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah, I mean, once the season gets going, and we hammer that stuff, we hammer that into the guys' heads early. You know, like you have to get everything in during the weeks that you're allotted practice, because once the season starts, the body does get sore. You're going every day, so you can't necessarily go at it. You have to take in mind the arms and just the overall health, because you do get sore playing baseball. So it's one of those things, like the first 3 weeks you're trying to get in and everything, teach everything, re-go over everything, make sure that you've done everything that you're supposed to, because once the season starts, there's a little time for refinement every day, but mostly it's come in, get your swings in, make sure the pitchers throw that need to throw, and try to get out healthy.
Yeah. Talk to me about pitching and just keeping up with that, and innings pitched and number of pitches, and I mean,
yeah, it's a puzzle. I mean, it's a puzzle, and I'm fortunate enough to have Coach Looper, David Looper, with me, so he's got some time under his belt too, so we can sit down and we brainstorm, and it's a puzzle. I mean, we map out weeks in ahead, so we're weeks in ahead, and you have one schedule that if everything goes right, that's the way you go, but you also have to look back on the tail end. Well, if we don't get everything done here, who do we put in next? So it is, and then you're playing with the pitch chart, you're playing with the pitch count, and then you're also, you know, just trying to figure out how the guys feel. Some guys bounce back quicker than others. Some guys take a week. If they're starters, you know, you're trying to find that mix of what those guys' roles are and how they can thrive in them. So some guys can pitch once a week. Some guys you're trying to teach 30 to 40 pitches at a time and then be able to bounce back 2 or 3 days later. So it's just one of those things of where you fit in and what your role is. But it's really, it is just a big piece of puzzle.
And someone has to be keeping up with that as the game goes along.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yeah, we keep all those charts in the dugout. Coach Looper stays on his chart. We have an iPad that we keep all the stats on. So when you go back to the next day, or you get home, or even sometimes on the bus ride home, you're sitting through, flipping through and counting numbers and figure out where we go tomorrow. Is the plan going to work for tomorrow? Mm-hmm. What do we do this weekend? So the numbers are always there.
And earlier in the year, I'm sure that you have to kind of
ease your pitchers in terms of, I mean, they're not going to go out and pitch their maximum.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
I mean, and that's one good thing about them giving us the extra week now is you're going to be able to get those guys a couple extra outings before they go out. But you're right. I mean, it's one of those things where you don't want to overexert a guy, because if he gets hurt early, you're not going to have him on the tail end. So you're having to just kind of play the game, talk with them. I have a really good trainer. We have a really good trainer at school that does a great job. Brian does everything. He comes and talks to us every day, lets us know how guys are feeling. He gets them healthy. He gives them all their rehab and everything of that nature. So it's a really good thing for us to have that in the building as well.
Shea Deal joining us this morning as we talk Rockvale baseball. I know in the past several years, just because of the number of weeks and the district, we've had to start out with district series,
yes,
and so now hopefully this helps with that
yes,
too.
Yes, sir. We're scheduled to get 13 games in before we actually hit the 12, what I call the grind or the gauntlet. So we're able, and it's going to be very beneficial for us because we do have a young squad. We graduated a lot last year, and we've got a lot of guys stepping up, young guys that are stepping up and filling in the pieces. So it's going to be good to get those games in because you don't feel like you're rushed to get into mid-season form in the second week of the season. So it's in a way that it played out last year. The first week of the district determined the end of the year.
It did, yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's good that we're going to be able to get some good quality games in. We're going to play quality teams, and of course we're going to be young and we may take some lumps, but by the time we get those 13 in, I feel we'll be battle tested and we'll be able to put a good product out there.
I've heard from numerous people that the district overall is better this year in terms of just maturity level and things like that.
Yes, sir. It is,
but you're young.
But we're young, so it's one of those things. But we're young. But I have young guys. I have guys that have waited their turn to play, and now it's their turn, and they did everything that was right, and now they're going to get their chance. And then I have some younger guys that are stepping up from JV last year to this year, and then I actually have a good crop of freshmen that have came in, and I think down the road are going to be able to help us. But this year they're going to play a vital part, and by the time we get those 13 games in, like I said, they'll be battle tested, and I feel like we're going to be able to put a good product out on the field. Well,
talk to me about your pitching staff first, and then maybe you can take us around the horn.
Absolutely. So pitching, I've got 5 seniors that I can run out there at any time that I feel really good with. Cameron Curtis is going to get the ball on Monday. He's a senior. He's waited his time. He's hungry, and he looks really good on the mound. So he's going to step in and do a good job for us. Landon Lozano is another guy that's played his role and done his part, and he's going to come in and be able to throw strikes for us. And I see him getting some really good innings and quite possibly some good district starts for us. We have a sophomore, actually, Logan Rhodes, who's going to fill a spot, left-handed pitcher, throws all 3 for strikes, can stay around the plate. So when he's on, he's really good. And then I have one more senior, two more seniors, actually. AJ Langston, he's a right-hander, tall kid, throws strikes. He got some innings for us last year, so he's battle-tested in the district. He knows what it's like to have to get himself, especially coming out of the pen in a district game. And then I have another senior who's actually a college signee with UT Southern, Christian Ross. He's a right-hander. He's paid his times. He fought through some adversity, but he's right on top of things, and when he throws strikes, he's as good as anybody. And then Ty Newton, who's been a good success with our basketball team, he's jumped in. He's going to throw strikes for us. And then I really have 4 good freshmen that have come in with Jay Insani, Sam Jones, Owen Guidry, and James Vaughn. All those guys in the first 2 weeks of practice and even through the fall have come in, soaked up the knowledge, and they all are going to be quality arms down the road.
Let's talk infield, outfield, and kind of introduce us to some of those guys.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I've got one returning starter, so we're rolling them out there, but I feel confident in the guys that I have. So behind the plate right now, I've got 2 guys fighting it out for the job, and that's a freshman, Jay Insani. He's come in and done a great job. I've got Christian Qualls, who's a sophomore behind him, who is fighting for the job, and he's come in and they're tooth and nail every day. They come in, but they work well together, so they'll both do great jobs back there. Then at first, I've got 3 guys: AJ Langston, Nicholas Grisofi, and Logan Rhodes as well. that are fighting it out for that job. At second base, I have a senior, Landon Lozano, who I spoke about his pitching earlier. He's solid there. He makes the play. He made a great play the other night at Stewart's Creek. He had a rough night at the plate, but when we got on the bus, I was like, man, you made the play of the night. Like, you just have to keep plugging. We'll get there. So he's going to be able to fill in and give me a staple there. And then at shortstop, I have Ty Newton. He was our center fielder last year, but he's going to move in and play shortstop for us and is going to do a great job. And then behind him, I have a freshman, Sam Jones. And then at third base is Cameron Curtis and Nelson Perez. Cameron is the senior. It's his job. He's gonna come in and play every day, but when he pitches, of course, someone has to play third, so Nelson's going to fit in there. And then in right field, I have Mason Donahue, who's another senior. He's waited his time. He's gotten some big hits in the past 2 weeks, so he's really matured. He's working. He's doing the right thing, and I see great things for him ahead. And then in center field, we have a young man, freshman Owen Guidry. He's shown us that he can make the defensive plays, and he's learning. They're going to make freshman mistakes. We talk about it every day, but they're holding their own, and I'm very proud of him. But he's been a good staple in center field. And then in left field, I have a freshman and a junior fighting it out. The junior is Tave Mulchin. He's come in. He's played his role. He's fighting every day. And then I have another freshman, Tylen Green, that is the left fielder, and he's fighting for the job. So I've got young guys that are coming in and pushing these older guys, which is good. We talk about it every day. The job's open. Win the job, and if you don't win the job, come back tomorrow and try to win it back. So it's a good group. It's something that I haven't had in a while because I've had so much experience that you're going back out there, and it's exciting because you do see a new picture.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
Yeah, and you have those light bulb on moments.
Absolutely.
You
know? When you see something click with one of those younger guys, and they're like, hey, and then they repeat it. It's really neat to see that they're learning and they're growing quickly, and that's what's great about it.
Yeah. Well, you kind of have to. And
absolutely. We're about to get thrown to the fire, so it's coming.
So again, next week begins things for you guys, and I always like to make sure that fans know that, you know, with baseball, the schedule can change on a dime. And what's the best place for them to follow you on Twitter?
The Twitter, yes, sir. We use Twitter. We put all information. We do a good job with that. That's the best way to find out day-to-day operations with us. We'll have it in the morning, what's going on. So if there's a game scheduled that night, we'll make sure that that's on there, and then if anything changes throughout the day, it immediately goes to Twitter.
Okay.
Yes,
we'll have that on the podcast. It's rvale_baseball, and check it out there and be sure to follow. And Coach, appreciate it. I know we'll see you out at games here this spring, and really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. That is Shea Deal, the head coach of the Rockville Rockets, joining us on the Coach's Show, brought to you by State Farm agents Andy Womack, Bud Morris, Dana Womack, Celeste Middleton, Ron Reeves, and Emerson Williams. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Here's a question. What do you want from your electric co-op?
An app for easy payment.
Solar energy solutions.
I just want to talk to a real person when I need help. Energy tips and low rates.
Done, 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 done.
I want to fly my car to the moon.
Houston, let's talk about electric vehicles. Energy Service Life. That's Middle Tennessee Electric. We're here to get done what matters most to you. Learn more at mte.com.
We're talking now with Heather here at Carpets by Osborne. Tell us what it's like to work at a family business.
It's a lot of fun. However, it's a lot of work. Everybody has to pull their weight equally.
What do you think are some of the advantages of people doing business with a family business versus a corporate business?
We are here to answer all questions. We're responsible for scheduling jobs. We're not here to sell you material and pass you off to a list of installers.
Carpets by Osborne on Northwest Broad, next to Tire World.
Whether you're a student, alumni, or just a fan, Raider Tees has exactly what you need to help you cheer on the Blue Raiders on game days and every moment in between. We sell officially licensed Blue Raider gear, whether it's clothing, hats, flags, chairs, or just whatever. We have it all, including exclusive gear you won't find anywhere else. Like us on Facebook for updates on new Blue Raider gear and special prices or discounts. For all your Blue Raider gear, shop Raider Tees today. Bigger, better, and go Blue!
The Prentice Alsop Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
Coaches Show is brought to you by the law offices of John Day, providing superior legal representation to injury victims and their families. Find out more at johndaylegal.com. We've got the honor of talking to Chris Lynch, the head coach of the Eagleville Lady Eagles. They are in action coming up tonight at Wayne County. We're going to talk about that in the sectional game that is ahead. But, Coach, it's always good to be talking basketball this time of the year, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Well, let's kind of dive in. The last few weeks, you have seen Moore County quite a bit, and the most recent was in the region championship game, and these games get closer and closer every time, don't they?
They have. We've lost to them by 18, 3, 3, and 2. And the other night, and their scores have gone down every time. It was 53, 48, 40, 38. So we've improved defensively every time. And the other night we were down 1 with 30 seconds to play and scored. We went up 1. They had the ball, and we thought we would just stop them defensively and win the game. And it got down to about 10 seconds, and a girl drove down the lane. And when she jump stopped, she landed on one of my players' foot. And so she lost her balance and fell over. So the girl turned back around and had a wide open look. But so we were down 1 and called a timeout with about 8 seconds to go on the sideline, and had a pretty good look at it, drove to the basket, and it didn't go in. And, we fouled with about 2 seconds to go. They hit 1 free throw. We were down 2. Got a good look from about half court and hit the backboard and the rim, but didn't go in. So, we were right there, and that game started out, we were down 12 in the first half, and things were not going good. In the second half, we came back and started attacking the basket really hard, jumped into a press, and came back, got the lead, and, had a shot at the end. And I guess that's all you can ask for. The girls played really hard, and we just came up, a point or two short, and, you just have to give credit to Moore County. They played a really good game, and, we move on, and now we have Wayne County, the number 1 team in the state, 29-3. We're a state runner-up last year, and, that's a tough place to play. It's a long travel, so we're accepting the challenge and see what we're made of.
Well, you haven't played Wayne County this year, so we'll touch on that a bit more here in just a quick second. When you play a team time after time, and they're a district team, and you've played Moore County now 4 times, we usually see the score shrink, and we usually see, especially if they're fairly equal teams, that it comes down to 1 or 2 critical moments, and you just mentioned one right there. But how is that to coach in girls, knowing that you had it right there against, I guess, one of your bigger rivals in the district, and sometimes it doesn't go your way? So how do you refocus, because the challenge is pretty big with Wayne County here?
Well, it is, and we talked about in life, just like in basketball, you're going to take setbacks, and everybody's going to have a setback. It's how you respond and come back from those. So we could pout, we could, point fingers, we could do things like that, or we could put it behind us, learn from it, and get focused on our next task, which, and I reminded them about 5 years ago when we won the region over Moore County. And that was also a close game, and there was an upset in the other side of the sub-state, and we had to play Clay County, and they were ranked number 1 in the state, and everybody was saying, Clay County's going to win by 40. There's no need even playing the game. Mm-hmm. And one of their assistant coaches told our principal before that game, he said, the Coach Tollett asked him why they didn't bring many fans, and he said, well, you just have to understand, we're probably going to win the whole thing, so our fans are going to have to spend 3 nights in Murfreesboro, and probably some of them are just saving a little money tonight. And so I didn't find that out till after the game, but that was everybody's mentality. And, the girls in the locker room did not have that mentality. We were going to win that ball game and ended up winning it. And so, I told the girls, it doesn't matter what everyone else is saying about this game. It's what we think and what we can do. And, if it was the case of, oh, well, let's just give it to them, then you don't even play the game. So, we're focused and we've had 2 good days of practice, and we're going off to Wayne County at 3:00 today, and we're going to win that ball game.
Chris Lynch is joining us this morning. We're talking Eagleville girls basketball. I think about that when you played Richland. Oakland had to play Cookeville, one of the state-ranked teams. Blackman had to play Lebanon, and everybody said that wasn't going to happen. And then here you play Richland, a team that beat you early in the season by 11, and you go to their place and you win a must-win semifinal game to even get to the championship game in pretty convincing fashion. So teams get better as the season goes along, but, I mean, you can't win a game on paper.
That's exactly right. And, we went to Richland at their place, like you said, and they were ranked number 5 in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that we had to go in there with that same mindset. And, then, we beat them by 15. We got out to a lead and just extended it, and they made a little run in the second half. But I was so proud of the girls. They played so hard in that semifinal game. And, that game is one of the biggest games of the season because you lose it and you're going home. And, you win, you're going to a sub-state game. You're playing in a region championship. And, if you can't get up for those kind of games and play your best, then, you have to go home. So we had a few good days of practice and we thought we had a good game plan. The girls executed it great. They were being unselfish. We rebounded well. We had low turnovers, played very physical. And, it was a good night for us.
Well, I think about the semifinals in the region, and you've coached in many of them, so I wonder what your opinion is. I think it's one of the best nights of high school basketball all around, the semifinals of the region. I don't know.
I think it is too, because by the time you get to the semifinals of the region, everybody's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And what's at stake. And so you get you're not holding anything back at this point. And you just hope that, at that point you're playing your best basketball. And, Richland had just a week prior to that, they had just beaten Loretta at Loretta, and they're number 2 in AA. So Loretta also beat Wayne County this year. So if you kind of want to say if they beat them and they beat them,
mm-hmm.
You feel like you have a shot. And, if you ever go into a game thinking we don't have a chance to win, you might as well not show up. So you go and you prepare to win, and you try to prepare for everything they might do and, some things that you want to do. And I feel good and I feel confident with the girls, and we're in a good state of mind, and we're ready to go play some good basketball.
Well, you got that chance this afternoon. It's a 7:00 game at Wayne County, and you've already kind of mentioned that is a tough place to play. But anytime you go on the road at this level, I mean, you're in this. If you think about it like NCAA, you're in the Sweet 16 trying to get to the Elite 8, and it's always a challenge this time of the year. But in terms of the mindset of the girls, it sounds like you all are kind of dialed in and ready to go.
Yeah, and I think we got down pretty big in the Moore County game and came back. And it reminded me of a game we played at Christmas, and it was against Scottsboro, Alabama. And we were down about 15 in that game, and we came back and won that game despite them hitting 13 threes and scoring 71 points. we scored 83 points that day. And that game was at 10 o'clock in the morning in Scottsboro, Alabama. So we drive 2 hours and have to play at 10 o'clock in the morning. And the reason I bring that game up is because they're in the semifinals of the 5A state championship in Alabama. So it was a very good quality win for us. And so I think we've been exposed to a lot of, different types of play by this time in the season. You've got Richland, who has, they're big, they're fast, they have a great shooter. Moore County, they're deep, they have a great shooter, they're big. Then, even in our district and some of the great teams like Huntland, they didn't even advance, and they're a great team coached by Mike Evanson, and he always has his girls ready to play. They're a big team. They've played zone. We've gone against 2-3s, 1-2-2s, half-court traps. So I feel like by the time you get to this part of the season, you've seen about everything. And so, it's kind of like, what do you have in your toolbox to bring out against all these different defenses? Are they going to do something new? Are they going to press you? Are they going to pack it in? And so hopefully by this time of the season, you're mentally ready, you're physically ready, and I feel like we're up to the challenge. So we're going to put it all on the line tonight and see what we can get done.
You mentioned a few keys to the game. Anything in particular about Wayne County that we should know about?
Well, they're really big, and she was Miss Basketball even as a freshman, Blair Bogus, and she's a very good player. I know she's, I believe, been offered from Belmont and MTSU. They have the coach's daughter's about 6'1", and she plays outside, a really good shooter. Then they have 3 guards that are very good. They can penetrate and pitch. They can knock down jump shots. And Blair Bogus is such a good offensive rebounder. She's good to catch and score, but when other people miss, she is so good at rebounding. And that probably more than anything is one of our biggest challenges. And I think some of the biggest things that we can do is we are really good in transition offense. So we're going to try to beat all that big down the floor and get some good looks early. We know we're going to get half court trapped. And so, we're just looking forward to seeing what we can do against it.
Well, when you play star players, Davey knows all about it, and we're going to talk to him next coming up. They've got a big game on Monday, but the kid from Santa Fe, it's like, well, there's no way they're going to beat Santa Fe because they've got the kid who can pour in 30, 35, 40 points, and he did that, but the guy still won, and you just got to play the one in front of you and block out the noise, which in today's society is a little harder to do, I think, than it maybe was a few years ago, but sounds like you all are dialed in and ready to go.
Yeah. And, you mentioned the Slaughter kid. He is really good, and he can score. He has great body control, and the 2 previous games, Dave and them played them really close. Mm-hmm. And in the championship game the other night, that guy was going off. He had 24 at halftime. I'm not exactly sure what he ended up with, but also I feel like he's a high volume shooter. He takes a ton of shots, and I believe Davey's got some players on his team, Coach McLaren, that if they shot that many times a game, they could average 30 to 40 points. But
what about the other 4 on the floor?
I feel like Coach McLaren's team is very balanced, and they won that game and get to play at home Monday. So, for both teams to be in the sub-state is a good feeling. And in 2020 and in 2019, we both did the same thing. We both hosted the sub-states. We went to the state tournament together, and it's like we repeated the whole thing. I just kind of came up a couple of points short and have to go on the road. But, wish them good luck. They're playing great ball right now. I feel like we're playing our best game, our best ball of the season. And I don't know, it's exciting times. And this is what, you play for all season. And I told the girls the other day before we went and played in the region championship, I said, if you knew on our very first practice of the year, and I told you that you would be playing in the region championship, you have to be excited about this season. And, we finished third in our district.
Right.
But the district was very tough, and I think it prepared us for that postseason run. And so we're excited, and, we're going to go give it our best shot and see what we can do.
Well, Coach, good luck, and we will hopefully have another chance to catch up, maybe at Girls State. How about that?
Sounds perfect.
All right. That is the head coach of the Eagles, Chris Lynch, joining us on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Dan France Concrete, a licensed and insured residential and commercial concrete construction contractor serving Middle Tennessee. That's Dan France Concrete.
Pizza. Murfreesboro's favorite pizza is now hiring at all 3 local locations. That's right. We want you to join the Sir Pizza team. Stop in at our East Main, Veterans Parkway, or Memorial Boulevard locations and let us know how you'd like to join the Sir Pizza family. Also, we've made it even easier to order for carryout or delivery. Just head on over to sirpizzatn.com.
Sir Pizza, you made me love pizza again.
It's a critical time in education, and we need experience on the Rutherford County School Board. That's why we need to elect Butch Vaughn to the school board in Zone 6. He brings experience as a public educator from his years in the classroom and as a coach to being principal at Central and Blackman Middle and Oakland High Schools. Butch Vaughn has also been in private education as the former headmaster at PCA. Experience counts, especially now. That's why we need Butch Vaughn on the Rutherford County School Board. Paid for by Butch Vaughn for School Board. Pryor Manning, Treasurer.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, family owned and operated since 1977. Get the best services with Prentice Allsup Heating and Air. Online at PrenticeAllsup.com. I'm Danny Brewer. Man, I'm excited right now because I am joined by Eagleville boys basketball coach Davey McLaren. Coach, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, we're happy to have you, Coach. I mean, it's been some really exciting times over at Eagleville basketball, in the basketball gym. Girls and boys, I know, playing lights out. You're an Eagleville guy. So it's really, really some fun times right now, isn't it?
It really is. To have both teams playing in March is special. And, to be able to obviously do that at your alumni is just even more special.
So, Coach, I know it was a big week for Eagleville boys. You had 2 huge wins. First, let's talk about Tuesday night. Barn burner over there, C.J. Goers. What about that and the gang? I mean, because you had lots of kids contribute. I know he hit the game winner, I think 3 with virtually no time left on the clock. Tell me about it. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, coming into the game, we felt like Richland was one of the best teams that we've faced all year, especially in our region. They can score. All 5 guys on the floor can score. They've got great height. They've got athleticism, and they kind of felt like they were upset in the district championship. So I know their coach real well, and we felt like we would probably face each other in the region championship if we were both lucky enough to make it. But that didn't work out as planned, so we ended up facing in the semifinals, which we're kind of mirror images of one another when it comes to size and athleticism. So it was a very stressful game coming in, playing on their home floor, and we had some guys that had to step up and play through some tough stretches, and CJ coming off the district didn't play to the level of his his ability, and so he had a great region run right here, and so we're in the ball game, and he's making some shots, and he's making some great plays out there. But it comes down to with 13 seconds to go in the ball game, the game's knotted at 48-48, and they've been playing a really good zone defense all night long, we just flattened the floor out and gave the ball to Camden Cole, who came in and gave us a really good spark in the fourth quarter. He had sit most of the game on the bench in foul trouble, and he had a great fourth quarter. And we knew that they would collapse on Camden, and Camden just drove the ball down the middle, and they collapsed and kicked it out to CJ. And CJ, being our only senior, hits that last-second shot that I'm sure he's practiced his whole life in his backyard. And so it was kind of a fairy tale ending between two really good teams, and you get your senior to knock down a big shot. It was a special moment.
So let's wrap our head around this for just a minute. Senior, like you said, this is the things that kids dream about, right? I mean, the opportunity. And then also, it kind of played out exactly how you drew it up, right? I mean, it's so special. I mean, special don't even describe it.
Yeah, I mean, you get that opportunity to win a big ball game, to advance your team, to advance your season. You can't write it out any better than that. I mean, most kids dream of being in that situation. So he was able to, kind of erase some things that happened earlier in the game and put the team on his back along with everyone else. I mean, it was a total team effort. That's the one thing about this team. CJ ends up being the region MVP, but we had Gray Barker was the district MVP of the tournament, and then Camden Cove was the district season MVP. So we've got a lot of kids that have stepped up in different times, and we've got 5 starters all averaging double digits. So to see them step up and make some of those plays is, you kind of expect it at this point because they're playing well and they're all capable at any time of having a big game.
5 guys in double figures, man. That's like an offensive coach's dream there, huh?
It is. They're very unselfish, and they tend to make the right play, and they also they feed on each other's success, and they find the guys that are hot, and they're young, and we don't always play perfect. There's moments when we don't make the right decision, but usually they recognize that and they fix it as the game goes on. So very proud of their growth. We have 3 sophomores that are starting. So, for them to be playing at this level, I don't think it's unexpected because I think they're very talented young men. But the maturity and the growth that they've had, this year has really helped us get to the point where we're at.
So let's talk about Thursday night. Big win over Santa Fe. 3 guys with 17 plus. Man, that's talk about offensive coach's dream, man. That's just outstanding.
Well, it took every single point because we were going against an offensive juggernaut. I mean, the Slaughter kid from Santa Fe is averaging 35 a game, and he had 44 against us. And we tried to slow him down, but he is just, he's one of those offensive kids. A lot of people probably look out there and they think, he's just playing single A or whatever. This kid can put the ball in the bucket. I mean, he's a load every night to have to defend. And they had beaten us twice earlier in the year, once by 3 and once by 6. So we were familiar with them. We had not played very good. That was early in the year when we wasn't really playing good offense. Our guys really were figuring out their identities and their roles and their minutes. And so we felt confident that we were going to be able to put the ball in the bucket against them. It was just going to be, can we slow him down? And it just came to the point where we held everybody else down, and he was going to get his shots. We weren't going to stop him from shooting it. So I felt like we defensively did about as good as we could do. We made him take a lot of tough shots. He made a lot of tough shots. Now, he took a ton of shots to get there. But the guys did a great job on the team defensive side as well. But, yeah, I mean, early on, James, our point guard, he kept us within striking distance in the first quarter. He made some really, really tough moves, got to the basket, finished. And throughout the game, Camden Cole was making some really good plays, and then CJ went to the free throw line and was 9 of 10 from the free throw line, hit a couple big threes down the stretch, and then we were able to just take care of the ball and force them into fouling situations at the end of the ball game. They're a very good defensive team. Santa Fe doesn't pass the eye test. You look out there at them, and they're not excessively big, and they don't look really athletic. But you're talking about a team that plays great team ball. It was a tough win, and it was a big win. It gives an opportunity to play at home.
Sounds like it. I mean, when you think about the rewards that are here, like I said, the home game, but also beating a team that had already beaten you twice makes it a little bit sweeter, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we obviously felt like we handed them two wins because we had the lead in both games with 2 minutes to go. So, that's some growth and maturity that you see, being able to close the game out at the end of the year versus not being able to at the beginning of the year. So you like to see that growth, especially at this time of year.
Let's talk about 9 out of 10 from the line for CJ Goers. I mean, talk about growth. I think that oftentimes free throw shooting the importance of it can be underscored, not by guys like you, but maybe by players. But a senior, 9 out of 10 from the line, how about that?
Yeah, it's great. We have about 3 guys. I know we have 3 guys shooting 80% or higher, and then our other 2 guys are in the 70s. So we feel confident when we go to the free throw line. And but CJ was obviously locked in, and we were able to get the ball to him so that he could step up to that free throw line and put the game away. So that's just another growth right there. The guys were finding him in those situations and making sure that he was the one that was going to the line.
So let's look ahead. Monday night, you've earned a home game for the sub-state. Or I call it sub-state. They call it sectional. But
right.
Home game, Hughes. Tell me about them. That's your opponent. What do you know about them, and what are you looking for out of your team going into this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think they just a lot like a lot of other teams. Obviously, they're playing really good at this time of year. They have a really good point guard, and he's kind of, I wouldn't say he's ball dominant, but most of the plays go through him. He's a playmaker. He can score, but he also is a distributor. They have a really good athletic big inside. He's about 6'4". He can get off the floor. He can cause a lot of problems on both ends of the floor. He can disrupt some offense with his size and athleticism, and then he can score. He can shoot the three real well, and he's strong down low. So, but we've seen these kids all year long. Our schedule has put us in a position where we've seen super athletic point guards like Santa Fe. We've seen bigs like Fayetteville City, who has 6'8" down there. So I don't think they're going to show us anything that we haven't seen. It's just, you got 2 teams that are playing good at the right time, and they obviously are capable of winning. I know that we've played a lot of common opponents this year that have beat them. So, that goes 2 ways. You can say, okay, it's a very winnable ball game. You don't want to be overconfident. But like we played Santa Fe early in the year and we weren't playing at our best, that could have been the exact same thing that were with them. They could have had a lot of growth since a lot of those common opponents. So it's going to be what everybody would expect. It's probably going to be a good ball game to come to. Obviously, playing at home with our young guys is going to be a huge advantage with confidence and just not having to travel and playing in front of your home crowd. It's something that every team wants to be able to play at home at this time of year.
Just what you've been working for. That's Davey McLaren, head basketball coach at Eagleville. I'm confident in one thing, Coach. You will have them ready. You've done an excellent job there. You've gotten these kids to the point. So if you want to see, this is the best game in town. Actually, it's the only game in town as far as boys go Monday night because Laverne is on the road. So it's the only game in town. Get over there to Eagleville. If you can't get over there to Eagleville, it's going to be on WGNS Radio because we are very pleased to be broadcasting that game. So everybody can, if you can't be there, you can listen to the game on radio. Coach, we wish you the best of luck. Davey McLaren, head basketball coach, Eagleville.
Thank you so much.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
Whether it's the blazing heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter, let the Rheem Pro professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Conditioning on West College Street keep your home or business comfortable year-round. We service all major brands and in most cases offer same-day service. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass.
It's time to talk MTCS sports. It's Cougar Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro.
Presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA. Live your best life. Online at TOA.com.
We're joined by Middle Tennessee Christian School coaches to talk about their most recent games and their upcoming opponents. It's time to talk orange and white on MTCS Cougar Corner.
Welcome into MTCS Cougar Corner here this morning. And you know that spring is right around the corner when we start talking some spring sports. Jamie Carver is joining us today as we talk baseball here on the show, presented by TOA, Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. And gosh, Jamie, it's been a little bit since we've had a chance to talk. It's always fun talking to you because we know spring is here.
Yeah, it's about that time. So as we hadn't had too bad of an early stage of the spring season. Weather's not been too bad on us. Had a lot of chance to get on the field. So, yeah, we're ready to get going. Won't be too long. We'll be chomping at the bit.
Well, you know, I think spring waits until, you know, baseball season starts, and then that's when we get our cold snaps, it seems.
Well, isn't that always the case? You know, that we've always kind of joked that last week of what they call open facilities before your first official date of practice, it seems like you always get some glimpse of mid 60s to low 70s and sunshine. And then, you know, that first day of practice, it's inevitably 33 with a wind blowing in 20 miles an hour. But nonetheless, we're used to it and we make do. Well,
I know that weather is always one of those things that's on the mind of any spring sports coach. And, you know, is it going to rain? Is it going to, you know, keep us from playing on the field if we get some rain, that kind of thing? Well, you all have joined the chorus of schools that have added field turf. And tell me a little bit about that project. I know you have to be pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a blessing and what a change of scenery. I know we've been able to pull off so much this last, 2 years, so many field improvements. It's almost becoming hard to list them. And we're very fortunate for that. And we've had some good fundraisers over the years and obviously a blessing of some donors that have kind of culminated into an opportunity this fall that just kind of came together in a hurry. And I don't even know that I thought it was realistic as we kind of started that conversation in July and August, but as that process picked up some steam, it became more and more realistic day by day. And I, spoke with Lou Warner over at Warner Athletic Construction and just said, hey, if we're able to put this together financially, can you get this done? And his team did an incredible job. I'm still blown away by how fast that process went. But, I don't really know how much I realized it would change the game until it was either the Monday or Tuesday of us, opening up practice. We got an afternoon, just kind of a straight line storm that came through. We were inside. It was raining, in sheets. And we actually took a lightning strike here on campus and it killed the power for a couple hours. And in the past, we'd have been done for. We had no access to an indoor facility. We had no power, couldn't run any pitching machines. The lights were off. We were stuck. And, you move the clock forward about 15, 20 minutes, the rain moves out and we're on the infield working bunt defense. And you're like, nah, I'm starting to see this now. This is a game changer. So it's been a blessing for us, and the kids are excited about it. It looks incredible, but just obviously count your blessings. And we're very fortunate to have what we have, and it's a beautiful facility. And of course, from somebody who's been here so long at this point to see it from where it was to where it is now, man, there's a lot of pride put into that too. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean. You had work last year and put up that beautiful backstop and fencing and all, and this year with the turf. I would imagine that certainly makes it much easier in terms of field upkeep and such too.
Yeah, I think my wife might be one of the happier people of us pulling this off, just because there's no more running the manual sod cutter and edging, and we still got to manicure the warning track, and we still have to mow the outfield. But it has certainly, I don't even know that you can even undersell that. It has certainly trimmed back on infield maintenance time, and for that to be able to be at home with family a little earlier each night has been a blessing, and one I don't take for granted. But hey, it's a great setup. We're happy for the school, happy for the program, and it's been fun to get on here these last few weeks for sure.
Let me ask you this about that, because I've noticed that there are a lot of fields that it's just the infield and such, and there's still work to do in the outfield and playing on turf. But there are some schools that have their entire field turf. So, I mean, what are the advantages of the way you all put it together, do you think?
Well, I think, Brian, let's cut to the chase. It is what it is. I think the biggest difference in going from one to the other is, there's a pretty substantial check that's got to come with that. Those projects are paid for by the square footage, and that's what we were able to do. We've had 5 or 6 years consecutively of some pretty strong fundraisers, and with where we, from a baseball program, we're able to bring some money to the table, and then a donor came and kind of finished the bill for us. That's where we were at. That's what we were able to pull off. If something had been a blessing and given us a check with another comma in it, maybe I'm sure we could have done something different. But this is where we are. But the advantageous side of things is if you have the chance to do all of it, then you get a uniform playing surface, and it plays the same from the infield to the outfield. But our kids really haven't missed a beat, and so many of these kids play on turf all summer long through travel ball now. It's kind of become a common field playing surface. They're used to it. And of course, you still have to do some maintenance on them. They're still shifting rubber pellets around, and there's stuff you have to do, but the kids have gotten pretty used to it. But for us to have, infield being synthetic turf and then outfield being natural grass, we really haven't missed a beat. Hadn't noticed anything really. But it's given us a constantly dry place, even on rain days, to be able to get some work done.
Yeah, well, that's obviously the biggest. Yeah, I was just kind of asking because I have no idea if one is better than the other or not, whether turfing the whole thing, but we don't see many of those. And obviously, I guess the money part is the biggest thing to consider with that.
That's correct. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How does that change how your infielders play? Because, I guess are hops truer in the infield, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think you get a more consistent hop. It's obviously you get a different hop than you would get on natural grass. But, I kind of mentioned this earlier, the quality of the turf that we got from Lou and his guys, it plays, far closer to natural grass than I expected. I thought we would be, taking ground balls in a parking lot, and it would be, balls coming through there and hardly slowing down at all, but it actually plays pretty natural. I know the quality of turf from, back in the 90s to now is comically improved. But you don't really miss a beat, really. I mean, it's more of just an accessibility. You can get on it quicker, but it plays fairly natural. I think the biggest difference you see is like if you had an improperly maintained field in the past, or if you had a lip, or you had something where there was a bump or a low spot, it could hit a rock. You may get a bad bounce at some point in time, but on this, it's going to play pretty true and pretty genuine. And I think for that, the infielders can get on board with that. But, it plays closer to natural than I would have suspected it would on the front end, and that's been a good thing.
And I'm sure as we get into the season, it's going to be one of those things, Jamie, where it's going to help you get in games that might have to get nixed and played another time. And I'm thinking about spring fling and all that kind of stuff too,
Yeah. I'm sure the Southern, they used to be Southern Athletic Fields, and they've changed their company name now. Those guys that do the dirt crew in spring fling, I'm sure they're, probably a love-hate relationship. Less dirt to play in come spring fling, but less tarp pulls. So there's a love-hate relationship, I'm sure, with that. But, it like you said, it should give you an opportunity to get in more games, more practice, and honestly, in such a date-constricted, jam-packed, busy spring schedule, any chance you can get more days in, that's a good thing.
Yeah, Jamie Carver with us as we talk MTCS baseball here on Cougar Corner this morning. And, I didn't think about that until you just mentioned it. There's no more need for a tarp and no more tarp pulling and the wind blowing and all that kind of stuff, too.
I don't know that anybody will complain about that. The 7 a.m. and the lunchtime rush tarp pulls, whether it's going on or off, were a disaster. And, having nicks and cuts and that thing leaking, that's going to be one thing that I am not I will have no tears shed the day that thing leaves campus whenever we decide to sell it. But, nobody gets on board with those. It's a necessary evil. But thankfully, that's something we don't have to touch anymore.
Well, let's kind of talk about this year's baseball squad, Jamie, and then we'll kind of look ahead to the schedule and the district and things of that nature as well. Why don't we start with your pitching staff here? And I'm hearing some really good things about them.
Yeah, it's one of an odd thing that I don't know. I mean, this is my 11th year as the head coach at MTCS, even as hard to believe as that may be. I don't know that I've ever had this happen before, but, we finished up last year at 24-13. We were eliminated in the region tournament. And as you kind of get to breaking down the season and see what you're losing, what's coming back, there was kind of a statistic that jumped off the sheet at me that I didn't really notice in the midst, but I caught it in the postseason. We did not graduate one single out of innings pitched from last year's staff. We returned every varsity inning pitched, and you just don't see that. So that's – you would like to think that you can point the finger and say that's going to be a strength of ours. We've got a handful of guys on the mound that are got electric stuff. We've talked about him every year he's been here. England Bryan has to lead the crew. Recently signed with Vanderbilt. This is his senior year. It's been a fun spring, kind of getting a chance to talk to some MLB scouts over the last few weeks. And as they're making the rounds, he's in the mid-90s and developed his off-speed stuff a little bit. He'll be a guy that throws the ball on Monday and Tuesday for us in district play. Tyler Casserly, being a kind of a crafty lefty, does a great job playing off of England. We've kind of used him as, a significant change of pace. He's a low 80s, multiple pitches for a strike, a lot of movement, kind of a sidearm lefty. To see those two looks back-to-back is extremely difficult to time up for a hitter. So they've played well back-to-back. And then, Brooks Jones, a senior, has kind of taken on that closer role for us these last few years. He's, 88, 90 miles an hour, got a good breaking ball, but he's kind of got that closer, shut-the-door mentality. So he's kind of rolled into that reliever back-end guy for us. Caden King is a sophomore this year. He's 6'5", 205, throwing the ball in the mid to upper 80s now. He's really developed as a pitcher and has had an incredible offseason. He's picked on, 25, 30 pounds worth of weight. His fastball velo has jumped because of that, but he's just a genuine pitcher. The kid knows how to maintain the mound, and his mechanics are fluid, and he does a great job for us as well.
I wonder where you learned that from.
Well, I don't know. I think his dad might have taught him a thing or two about swinging it. I don't know if he would take any credit to the pitching side of things, but
probably not. No, but I mean, it's Randy King's grandson and Brennan's son, so
yes.
It's in the blood. Athletics is in the blood.
Yeah. I don't think he had a choice but to fall in love with baseball at some point in time. But no, his work ethic is hard to match. I mean, the kid's always wanting more. And I think the game has paid him back because of that. He's put in the work and done his time, and the game's paying him back. And he has seen a wild jump this offseason. Drew Massengale is a junior. He's been in some big spots for us. He's a mid-80s, 3 pitches for a strike. He'll throw the ball on Monday and Tuesday. He's kind of just got that competitive spirit on the mound that you want to see. And then one we're waiting to get back, Tyler Wilson, a senior, won district pitcher of the year this past season, had an incredible year for us. Unfortunately, this fall had to have a surgery on his shoulder. He's rehabbing. He's getting really close. I don't know that he'll be ready to be on the mound early in the season, but hopefully by the midway point, we'll get him back into the mix. But of course, his stuff is, he didn't win district pitcher of the year for nothing. So being able to get that back, you're down 6-7 arms at that point, and getting to his name, and he was district pitcher of the year. So, a lot of depth there, and that's got to be something that you look at and get excited about, especially when you get into, hopefully if you start going. Everybody in our district seems to have a big arm, a 1. Everybody's probably got a 2. But the farther you get into those pins, if you can see what guys got in the pin, I feel pretty confident going from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And I think we're going to match up really well as we get into back end versus back end against some teams.
And then getting some guys in and some relief innings, you feel pretty solid there too, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got more names to throw at you. I mean, Owen White, his stuff is 86 to 88 with a great slider. Nate Fogel's a freshman. We got this fall, and he's a low 80s arm, multiple pitches for strikes. And the same thing I talked about with Caden. He's got extreme pitch ability. His mechanics are great. Seems to be composed on the mound. Eric Bowling is throwing the ball great for us this spring. Grant Hawson's going to find innings. I mean, we've got a laundry list of guys that I think we can hand the baseball to and be competitive. So for us, that's got to be a standout strength. Now it comes, can you pick it behind them? Can you put a defense behind them that will play well and pick the ball up and get people out? And then can you find a way to score a run or two along the way? But if we're able to do those two things, it should be a fun year, and we're looking forward to it.
Jamie Carver here on Cougar Corner today, talking baseball. I guess let's talk about your bats and what you think, and you can take us through the outfield as well.
Yeah, so just kind of working left to right across the outfield. Yates Guerin, a senior, he just committed to play football at Berry College this last week or so. I guess signed, sorry about that. But he was quarterback of the football team, of course, won the state championship. And Yates he's just a great athlete, and he's bided his time for the baseball program to get a shot. But here is his senior year. His athleticism is giving him a shot, and as we've got going this spring, he's doing a great job of finding ways to get on base. He's putting up good at bats. He can run, go get it in the outfield. So we'll look at him getting a shot in left field. Tyler Casserly and Tyler Wilson, whose names I've already mentioned on the mound. They'll get an opportunity. Of course, they played for us last year and can really play any of the three positions. They kind of traded off in center field depending on who was pitching. But, those three right there can absolutely go get it. They're fun to watch. They can put a blanket down in the outfield pretty quick and go and catch the ball on the run. So those three will have a lot of opportunities in the outfield. Eric Bowling and Nolan Brownlow are fighting to get into that mix as well. So, again, we got 5-6 names there that are going to give us opportunities to make up that outfield and see how that thing fills out. And, the blessing and the curse is for a coach. If you've got options, that's a great thing. The curse to that is it creates some uncomfortable moments and conversations sometimes. But, you'd rather have too many options and have to figure out who you're picking than to say, I'm not really sure who's going to do this for us. And I don't know that that's where we are. I think we've got some guys who can get the job done. And hopefully we'll be pretty fun to watch.
When the season starts, it's all, and it's everybody's in this same boat. But the bats take longer to come around, and that I don't know that's just part of it in any level of baseball, I think. But last year, the couple of times that we saw you had some power. So what do you think about that part of your game?
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to roll out a lineup that can be fun to watch. It's completely different. Now, I'm not comparing apples and apples here, but the other day in BP, it probably cost us $100 to hit batting practice on the field because we lost so many baseballs. Of course, we've got a wood line behind left field and then like a overgrowth pond behind center. That's just hard to get the balls back. If you hit them out, they're kind of hard to retrieve. Not impossible, but you're kind of digging through the woods to get them. So I think practice got kind of expensive the other day. We probably hit 20, 25 balls out. It's a lineup that has got a shot at making some noise. It's a lineup that's going to be fun to watch at times. Now, granted, I'm aware hitting BP and hitting game pitching is two different things, but I've been around the game long enough to see when you're like, oh, this thing right here could be entertaining. And that's one of the lineups we're going to roll out. Is we've got some guys with some pop working your way across the infield. Owen White is going to get a shot to play third base for us. Brooks Jones, his senior year, he's a 4-year starter for us at this point. He's going to play at Freed. He's got as much pop out of a high school bat as anybody I've ever coached. And he's gifted. He's got some really good athleticism. But similar to what I talked about with Caden earlier, his work ethic is there. The kid cannot get enough. We practice 3 hours, and he's harassing his dad to stay after and trying to get some more swings in the cage. It's just like, enough is never enough with him. But Drew Massengale and TJ Finley will get opportunities to rotate around at second base. Both of those have had a great spring for us. And then Caden King, being 6'5", is going to get a shot over at first base. He got an opportunity last year as a freshman and kind of took that and ran with it. But those guys can provide some pop. So, I mean, there's every chance in the world we could throw a lineup together where, I'll be honest with you, Brian, 1 through 9, it wouldn't surprise me if we got one out of the ballpark or rang the fence up with some doubles from anywhere in the lineup. And that's, you kind of wait on years like this, and that doesn't mean anything about what we're trying to do is going to be easy. We're going to match up against teams who are going to be able to do the exact same thing. But on paper, it looks like it could be a fun one.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about after we come back from this break, your schedule, and I've looked over it, and you're crazy. But we'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to MTCS Cougar Corner.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
The large majority of our kids are involved in athletics or extracurricular activities, one or the other, and most are doing multiple activities.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
And that's a great preparation for life. How many of us in our life are just doing one thing? So a well-rounded student is a huge deal.
Invest in your child's future in a Christ-centered environment with many athletic and extracurricular choices.
Without a doubt, our students have the opportunity to be involved in multiple activities.
To find out more, visit mtcscougars.org.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in treating local athletes here in Rutherford County. Experts in joint, bones, and muscles. And with over 65 specialists, TOA has a playbook to get you back in the game. To request an appointment, visit TOA.com or call 855-NEED-TOA. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA. Live your best life.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
People love to see us on the schedule when they have a home game because our fans show up.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
The way we travel is just phenomenal. Our parents and our community are fully engaged in our school. When we compete, we're trying to do it in a way that honors God. We want to win. We also want to do it in a way that pleases Him.
Providing Christian values and academic excellence in a nurturing environment. That's Middle Tennessee Christian School. Invest in the future of your child. Find out more at mtcscougars.org.
It's MTCS Cougar Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro.
Presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA. Live your best life. Online at TOA.com.
On FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
We are back here on MTCS Cougar Corner, and Jamie Carver, our guest this morning. We're talking baseball, of course, and right before we went to the break, I said I had looked at your schedule, and you're crazy, and this is why I said that. You've got Coffee County, Shelbyville. You've got 2-game series with Siegel. You've got Spain Park and Helena, Florence, and Leeds out of Alabama. You've got also Rockvale in there, so Columbia. So, and that's your non-league schedule. That's a pretty heady schedule you've got together.
Well, Brian, you get into doing this long enough, and you become a self-assessment. You kind of critique, say, hey, where have we done things well, and where are things we can improve on and do things a little better to prepare ourselves for playing well in May. And, as I've done this a few years now, you realize, man, if you're not challenged on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Mondays and Tuesdays get a little amplified. And the kids, if they don't routinely get to see 84 to 88 mile an hour pitching, then when you have to beat it to stay alive late in the year, when you have to find a way to beat that big arm, and it's shock and awe to you, that's a hard game to win. But what we went to a couple of years ago, I think we started this probably 2 years ago. Last year was, honestly, we won 24 games last year, and I would have lost that bet preseason. I thought we had a better year than I would have expected going in, but I think part of it is we tried to do this last year. We just threw a gauntlet of a schedule together and made it to where we're being challenged by big arms on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every weekend. And by doing so, the arms that you have to beat on Mondays and Tuesdays in district play, kind of had a saying last year with our guys. We'd walk up and down the dugout before the inning would start, and they would say, Coach, it's just another arm. we've seen this every single day. And I think that's the biggest challenge that we're trying to give to the kids is it's hard to get used to seeing something unless you do exactly that. You get used to seeing it. And we've put together a schedule where hopefully we can be challenged day in, day out. And by doing so, the hope is and the goal is to be well prepared, to be forged in the fire, to be ready to play in those big moments in early and mid-May as we try to do something the school's never been able to do before, and that's to win those postseason games in the month of May. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. I'm excited for those opportunities that you rattled off. There's not many days that are going to be an easy stroll in the ballpark, but man, isn't that what it's all about? I mean, that's what makes them fun. So
absolutely, and playing up is a little bit different. It would be different in football, obviously, but baseball. Well, you just kind of said. Your guy said, just another pitcher. We've seen this kind of stuff, and so that's a little forgiving. But for baseball fans out there, you'd be a little jealous to know that at the end of March you get to go down and play down in Hoover at the Met Complex, which is really going to be a cool experience for your guys.
Yeah. So we've done, about every direction of Tennessee you can travel. We've done the Knoxville trip, we've done the Chattanooga trip, we've done the Jackson trip. We've made our rounds and done different things. And, honestly, kids were harassing us, trying to get us to do a trip down to Florida. And I don't mind saying it. I couldn't get excited about that. That's just from a scheduling and itinerary perspective. It was just something that was a little overwhelming. But I stumbled across this and got the chance to, through some common contacts, I got a chance to get in touch with Coach Adam Mosley down at Hoover High School. And man, what a program they run. And, get a chance to talk with him and realized he was putting on a tournament during our spring break, which is when we normally try to travel. And, we communicated back and forth and talked through that process, and it wound up working out. But yes, I'm really looking forward to that. You talk about getting a chance to see some really good baseball. And, on the other side of that too is that's going to be our third week of the regular season. So we'll be 10 games into the schedule at that point. I think they're closer to like 20 to 25 games into their schedule at that point. They start a little earlier than we do.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to be in mid-season form. And, we'll be trying to, at that point, hopefully trying to figure out who the lineup is and starting to shuffle some cards in this, this is the guy that's going to play here. This is the guy that's going to play here. So for us to get to be challenged, like I said, Spain Park is going to be really good. Florence is going to be really good. So getting a chance to see some of those teams from out of state will be a fun experience. But yeah, playing down at the Hoover Met where there's, goodness, what are there, like 8 turf fields inside of a 1 mile radius. It's going to be just kind of eat, sleep, drink baseball for 3 days. And I look forward to that trip as well.
Well, that's what a better way to spend spring break if you're baseball player, and so that's going to be a lot of fun. I did want to talk about your conference here real quick before our time gets away, and right out of the gate, you play your biggest rival from a few miles down the road. You can cut across the airport and be at their park.
Yeah, that's right. And they got the new facility this year back behind the church off of DeJarnett, and I know they're excited about opening that up. But yeah, I mean that's. I don't know that anybody would say they're just in love with opening the season with the district game, and then yet alone being a big rival for you. But that's where we are. That's how the chips fell. So we'll open the season on Monday, March 11th with PCA. But yeah, the district, as I mentioned earlier, is every single week you're going to see a plethora of arms. Columbia Academy last year at one point 24-2, I believe, starting for the most part freshmen and sophomores. So all those kids are back. Grace Christian is just kind of been there, done that, hung around the block, hadn't done anything but win games in the postseason. They have Vandy commit pitching on both Monday and Tuesday, one of them being a senior, one of them being a sophomore. Webb has done nothing but continue to improve and get better and better. I mean, the list could go on. It's no different than what we talked about with our non-district schedule. It's hard to find one in there where you're like, man, I can kind of sit back, relax, and take a deep breath today. This one should be okay. I don't know that we have that. I think the opportunities are going to be challenging every day, and that, again, that's what makes it fun.
So I guess you get to help open up their PCA's new facility, and they get to come over and help you christen your turf.
Yeah, as far as I know, I'm sure we'll have some ceremonial first pitches on both of those events, and everybody gets to see the new facilities. Of course, it's, I don't want to downplay it. For us, we've gotten used to seeing it, but to the fans who hadn't been around the ballpark in a few months, yeah, I mean, it's nice. And, I know for them to get a chance to host a baseball game at home for the first time is going to be fun. And then a lot of our fans that haven't gotten to see the field yet I'm sure they're looking forward to that opportunity as well. But I mean, that's going to be a fun way to open the season. Absolutely.
Sure will. All right. Well, Jamie, appreciate you spending some time with us. It's always good to catch up, and I know we'll see you out there for a couple of games this season. We are still in the throes of basketball, of course, but baseball season for the radio station, at least, is just around the corner, and looking forward to it. And you're always gracious host whenever we can get out there, and looking forward to seeing the new place and how things look out there. I know it's going to be sparkling, and appreciate you spending some time with us this morning.
Hey, always a pleasure. Nice to catch up with you. See you, Brian.
Absolutely. That's Jamie Carver joining us here on MTCS Cougar Corner, and that's going to wrap up our show for today. I want to thank Danny Brewer and also John Dinkins for hosting, and Dalton Barrett, our producer. I'm Brian Barrett. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you back here next time.
You know, we talk about them all the time in this air, but I bet you know a whole lot more than the rest of us.
Well, yes, Rudy, and there's some that I really try to advise people to do. And, like, the easiest is take that earliest flight. We can show statistically at FlightAware you have such